What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
4RJ. Chapter 76. Mother, Black Crow Pirates. Don't bother me with this kind of thing, is my dessert ready? A mere Black Crow pirate group will make you forget our desserts. Without Mom, the dessert is on the road, and it is likely to arrive. Cake Island. A cadre of the Ants pirate group is preparing to ask the Ant about the pirate group. However, the words are not over yet. She was interrupted by the Ant. For her, the Black Crow Pirates is not a big deal. It is true that Kaido was defeated by the Black Crow Pirates. But this doesn't mean much. Her thinking is similar to that of Whitebeard and Shanks. They are all waiting for Ye Chen to choose which side. There are so many sites in New World. Even if Beast's Pirates gives up a lot of territory, it is far from enough for the Black Crow Pirates, they will expand sooner or later. But the site is almost finished. If Beast's Pirates doesn't move, then you can only choose the other 5 emperors. And the object of their first choice. It must be the 5 emperors considered by Ye Chen to be the weakest. At least the weakest among the 3. If it is selected. Neither the Ant nor Shanks and Whitebeard would be happy. They may be the weakest. Can become the existence of the Sea Emperor. I was extremely proud. Don't admit that you are weaker than the other. But if Ye Chen really chooses them first, they can't stand it. Then it's really possible to do it. In addition, there has been too much news about the Black Crow Pirates recently. They also want to try the strength of the Black Crow Pirates. Is it really as rumored? The wind blew up. The appearance of Ye Chen. The era of letting the wind and the waves calm began to become turbulent. The world is changing. Times are also changing. Everyone is watching. Want to know how big a wave Ye Chen can cause, just like Whitebeard and the others? Or Roger and the others? Most of them are on the sidelines. Are looking forward to it. The original position should have belonged to Monkey Luffy. It's just the appearance of Ye Chen. Took his place. Even go to a more far-reaching point. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Under this huge storm, Marine is not incapable. They silently offered the bounty from Ye Chen and others. Ye Chen, 4.8 billion Baileys. Galio, 1.8 billion Baileys. Acedes, 1.5 billion Baileys. The bounty of the 3 has also improved qualitatively. Especially Ye Chen's bounty. It surpassed Kaido's bounty in one fell swoop and became the bounty of the 5 emperors, second only to Whitebeard. Now the 5 emperors' bounty, only Whitebeard alone is 5 billion Baileys, Kaido is 4.6 billion Baileys, and the Ant is 4.2 billion Baileys. Shanks are 4 billion Baileys. In it is the least. But this does not mean that Shanks is the weakest among them. Instead, the strength of Shanks, it may rank 3rd among the 5. A new bounty appears. In other places, it has caused quite a stir. But in New World, it's extremely peaceful. Because this is as it should be. Although the bounty does not mean much. But Ye Chen defeated Kaido and killed celestial dragons at the same time. It is reasonable that his bounty should be above Kaido. Even most people feel that it is normal to be above Whitebeard. After all, killing celestial dragons is such a thing. It seems that Ye Chen has done it alone. In addition to the bounty, Marine did not release any other news. Even Doflamingo's Shichibukai identity remains. At the same time, Doflamingo, a phone worm rang. See the phone worm in front of me. A gleam of light appeared in Doflamingo's eyes. This was the phone worm who contacted 5 elders. Shichibukai is under the jurisdiction of the world government. They are not an organization of Marine, but belong to the world government. And Doflamingo used to be celestial dragons and knows some secrets of celestial dragons. To this, he has the 5 elders phone worm, but this phone worm was not actually used after Doflamingo got it. This is the first time. For a 4, esteemed 5 elders, what do you want me to do? Doflamingo took the phone worm and smiled at the phone worm. If it's about Shichibukai's identity, you don't need to say anything, I am not Shichibukai anymore. Shichibukai's identity is very special. Although he is a pirate, he belongs to the world government and has unique status and rights. Generally, Marine will not hunt them down. Doflamingo, are you sure you want to give up the identity of Shichibukai? A thick voice came from the phone worm, saying, and you should understand that I'm looking for you personally, not just as Shichibukai. Single quote. If it's just about Shichibukai's identity, there is no need for 5 elders to contact Doflamingo in person. No need. At the same time, it is not that important. I also find it strange that if it's just a Shichibukai identity, you don't need to contact me at all. Hearing what 5 elders had said, Doflamingo didn't pretend anymore, and said indifferently, let's talk, what do you old guys have to do with me? In fact, Doflamingo roughly guessed it. Most of it is similar to what Ye Chen said before. 5 elders is looking for a spy. Backquote only since you joined the Black Crow Pirates, your tone has become a lot louder. 5 elders said in a deep voice. If it was the former Doflamingo, he wouldn't dare to call him an old guy in front of him. I used to be respectful to you because you are my boss, and I also need Shichibukai's identity. Doflamingo sneered and said, but I don't need it now, and those people who drove me out of the Holy Land Mary Geois, I still remember. Single quote. Back then, Doflamingo wanted to return to the Holy Land Mary Geoise and become a celestial dragons, but was rejected. For those things back then, Doflamingo, you know that it is impossible. You don't want the identity of celestial dragons. 5 elders said. They do that, no wonder others, and you also know the character of celestial dragons, so proud, even the air is different. It seems that you have lived in the West Sea for so many years, and you still breathe with ordinary people. The same air, in their opinion, you are no longer celestial dragons. Your blood has been tarnished, and it is normal to be driven away, Li Jiao. Single quote. Doflamingo didn't understand these truths. Are these things related to him? He is celestial dragons after all, but those who don't admit it, since those people have driven him out, don't blame him for remembering. It's just that there is no chance. If there is a chance, he doesn't mind letting those people try it. What on earth do you order with me? Doflamingo didn't bother to chat with 5 elders, and said straightforwardly, don't tell me you are looking for me now, you just want to chat with me. If that's the case, then I would be honored. Doflamingo's cynicism, 5 elders didn't care, and said faintly, I know that you are not willing to join the Black Crow Pirates. You are threatened by that guy. For this matter, we can help you. You just need to tell us the Black Crow Pirates some choices. Heard this sentence. Doflamingo sneered in his heart. Sure enough, as Master Ye Chen expected, these guys are looking for him as a spy. Chapter 77. Furfurfur, Lord 5 Elders, don't you feel stupid about your suggestion? Doflamingo sneered. What is Ye Chen's strength, and what is the strength of the Black Crow Pirates? If I are exposed, I will definitely die. Do you think I might do such a stupid thing? And you haven't evacuated my Shichibukai status until now, don't you think it's weird? Or do you plan to use this opportunity to make Ye Chen feel that I am a spy and act on me? The world government is too abnormal. He has joined the Black Crow Pirates, and his Shichibukai identity is still preserved. It's unbelievable. And 5 elders also asked him to act as a spy, which made Doflamingo feel even more amusing. Shichibukai's identity did not withdraw, and it was strange that Ye Chen would not doubt it. To this, Doflamingo thinks that this old guy might want to kill someone with a knife, and want to make Ye Chen suspicious as Shichibukai. At the same time, 5 elders is now contacting him, which is also a kind of evidence. As long as it is exposed, Ye Chen has enough reasons to act on him. For spies or traitors, no matter where they are disgusting. And 5 elders has a reason to get rid of him. Because he knows some secrets of celestial dragons. Doflamingo doesn't need to be so sensitive. 5 elders said calmly. The order to eliminate Shichibukai's identity has already been executed, but it hasn't been spread out yet. And we really want to kill you. We don't need Ye Chen to do it, we can do it ourselves. We don't need to borrow a knife to kill people, you should know the strength of CP0. Doflamingo did not refute, because 5 elders is telling the truth. As the largest intelligence department of the world government, CP0 has a lot of strong people in addition to all the people who are proficient in intelligence methods. Some are comparable to the 3 Admiral, and even the core leader of CP0, rumored to have the strength to compete against the Emperor of the Seas. In addition, they have special abilities, and no one knows what they look like. If these guys really plan to assassinate him, even if Doflamingo is confident, he may not be able to escape. Seeing that Doflamingo's tone was not so heavy, it seemed to be frightened. 5 elders smiled and said, we asked you to become a spy, not to do anything dangerous. You only need to tell us something about the Black Crow Pirates, such as they can tell us about their membership capabilities, or some decision making. We don't need you to act. Doflamingo was silent for a moment, and said, what can I get? Heard these words. 5 elders moved in his heart and smiled, but Doflamingo's heart still moved. They are also pretty sure that Doflamingo will be excited. He knows Doflamingo. This guy is unruly, not a person who condescends to others. And when Ye Chen asked him to surrender, it was compulsory. He was compelled by threats, and he was definitely unwilling in his heart to make him succumb to him in the future. It would be great to find this guy as a spy. Restore your identity as celestial dragons. 5 elders throws out its own terms. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The voice fell off. Doflamingo's breathing heavier, and 5 elders' heart moved. As expected, this guy still does not forget the identity of celestial dragons. Do you think I will believe you? Doflamingo sneered. Although you are the person in charge of the world government, you can't get involved with celestial dragons. Restore the identity of celestial dragons. That's so easy. Although 5 elders is in charge of the world government, 5 elders is not qualified to decide on celestial dragons. Nor does it have that authority. 5 elders seem to have anticipated it a long time ago, and said lightly, we certainly can't decide alone, but the person behind us can, and you should know who the person behind us is. The words came out. Doflamingo's pupils shrank and said, I don't know what you're talking about. Is there someone behind you? Don't pretend to be a fool. Doflamingo, you know the existence of that person, you can't hide it from us. 5 elders sneered. Your brother told us back then, but still want to hide it. Although we can't control celestial dragons, you should know the existence of the person behind us. Even celestial dragons dare not refute his decision. Doflamingo was silent for a while. I can promise you, but you have to tell me how long I need to hide. When will I be able to regain the identity of celestial dragons? 5 years. 5 elders replied. Or in between, kill Ye Chen, only if these two conditions are met, you can restore the identity of celestial dragons. I promised. Happy cooperation Doflamingo, we are waiting for the day you come back to the Holy Land. Finished. 5 elders hung up directly. Seeing that the phone worm was silent, Doflamingo took out a brand new phone worm from his body with a face similar to Ye Chen. Master Ye Chen, as expected. Doflamingo sneered and said, this bunch of idiots, they actually asked me to be a spy. Single quote. And these guys still think I want to be celestial dragons. What a stupid man. The moment 5 elders contacted Doflamingo, Doflamingo directly contacted Ye Chen. That is to say the conversation between the two parties. Fully known by Ye Chen. There is no concealment. Doflamingo is not stupid, although Ye Chen said that he believed him very much and could promise 5 elders to become a spy. But is that true? Doflamingo can guarantee. If he didn't do this today, let Ye Chen hear him and 5 elders all the way. It is estimated that after Ye Chen knew that he had contacted 5 elders, he would act on him as soon as possible. You did a great job Doflamingo. Ye Chen's voice came from the phone worm, but I didn't expect 5 elders and these guys to move him out. This is a bit beyond my expectation. It's just that the promise they gave you, I guess you just said it casually. The guy Yim won't be involved in such a thing. For whether it is celestial dragons or 5 elders, they are just pawns. It is impossible for him to do something for the pawns. 5 elders will not trouble because of this. The words came out. Doflamingo shook his whole body and his pupils shrank. Master Ye Chen, do you know Yim? Don't you know the man behind 5 elders? Doflamingo seemed to be shocked, trembling all over. He knew that there was someone behind 5 elders. But who is the man behind 5 elders? He is not clear. But Ye Chen is very clear, as if he had known about Yim's existence a long time ago, and he knew the roots. This shocked Doflamingo. How many secrets did he know? You know there are people behind 5 elders, and this secret is unknown even to the marine executives or even some celestial dragons. Put it in this world, it is definitely a top secret, and anyone who knows it can count it with one hand. It's not a secret, but it's normal if you don't know it. World government was created by Yim back then. He is now hidden behind the scenes and hasn't appeared for many years. Doflamingo's eyes widened. He really knew that Yim existed, and he also knew his origin. Oh my god, how many secrets did he know? At this time, Doflamingo fell into a state of extreme horror, a little dazed. Chapter 78. Doflamingo was completely confused, although he knows a lot of secrets. I also know that there is an existence behind 5 elders, and even know that this is a character who has lived for hundreds of years. He didn't know who this character was at the time, and he didn't even know that Yim was the one who founded the world government. However, he knew that the reason why Yim could live for hundreds of years was due to the immortal operation of Op Fruit. It is precisely because of this. Doflamingo is trying to get Op Fruit just to become the person behind 5 elders. Become the second immortal. Just. Doflamingo has never thought that his secrets are all known to Ye Chen, and he doesn't seem to care much about it. Pause time. Doflamingo was a little startled. He always felt that the man on the phone worm was far less simple than he thought. This man knows many secrets. It may even be from Im's time. Another immortal. Thinking of this, Doflamingo suddenly respected. Master Ye Chen, have you heard of the immortal? I once heard of the man behind 5 elders, that is, I'm as an immortal. Finished. Doflamingo looked at the phone worm nervously. He is indeed an immortal. Ye Chen said. When he was about to die, he had an Op Fruit capable person perform immortal surgery on him, thus becoming an immortal. Can you know the secrets of the immortal? It seems you know many secrets, and I heard that you wanted to get Op Fruit. Sure enough, he knew all about it. Doflamingo said silently in his heart. Right now, Ye Chen has become unpredictable in his heart. Not only is he strong, but he also knows a lot of secrets. It is even an immortal. Thinking that Ye Chen is so young, Doflamingo thinks it is very possible. Ye Chen is too young. At such a young age, he has the strength of the emperor, and he also possesses some weird abilities, which seem to appear out of thin air. This is a bit unusual. It takes a long time for normal people to reach the level of 4 emperors. Even the Logia Devil Fruit, which can increase the strength the fastest, can't make people climb into the sky in one step and directly become the powerhouse of the 4 emperors level. This requires a little chance and talent. Obviously it can't be achieved in a short time. There is no shortage of genius in this world. For example, Kaido, Auntie, Whitebeard, Shanks are among the best geniuses. Even Roger, who became One Piece, is the same. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But their strength at the level of the 4 emperors is already middle-aged, at least 40 years old. But Ye Chen seems to be just 20. Too young. Some are unlikely. This is not something talent can achieve. But, if Ye Chen is an immortal, all this makes sense. Because he is an immortal, he is so young, so he has such a powerful force. At the same time, it possesses power that is not available in this era. Because this power was originally unhappy with this era, but the power hundreds of years ago. Ye Chen is the immortal. Doflamingo is already convinced. It's just that he didn't say it. He felt that Ye Chen didn't personally say that he was an immortal on the day he couldn't say it. After all, no one knows what the secret of the immortal represents. If you say it, what should you do if you are killed by Ye Chen? Master Ye Chen, I did have this idea back then. Doflamingo obediently admitted, and said, I met a dying celestial dragons back then. The identity of that person seems to be very simple. It belongs to the level of elders within celestial dragons and has some relationship with our family. Before he died, he seemed to recognize me and told me some secrets, but the time was too short. He only told me that there was someone behind 5 elders, and there was a more powerful person behind the world government. This person was called what, he dare not say. But he did tell me the secret of op fruit, and at the same time told me that I must get op fruit if I have a chance in the future, and let me undergo the immortal operation and become an immortal. Doflamingo basically told all the secrets he knew. It may be because I think Ye Chen is an immortal. I don't think these secrets need to be hidden. That guy knows a lot of secrets. Ye Chen laughed and said, he is on celestial dragons, and his status is not low. I checked his identity and ranked 3rd among the elders of celestial dragons. Then the status is not low, you will know that op fruit's secrets are normal, but the secrets he knows are just fur. Doflamingo's heart moved, but he didn't speak. Just waited attentively for Ye Chen's words. Op fruit's immortal surgery can indeed make a person an immortal, but he has a condition, which is very difficult and almost impossible to achieve. Ye Chen said lightly, that is to awaken the op fruit ability. Only the awakened op fruit ability can perform immortal surgery. It can even be said that the immortality operation is the awakening of the op fruit ability. Moreover, a person with the op fruit ability can only use awakening once, and he will be gone when he runs out. Master Ye Chen, it is really difficult to awaken devil fruit, but it's not nearly impossible, right? Doflamingo said, he himself is a demon fruit power, so he thinks it shouldn't be difficult for op fruit to wake up. 0 Find flowers 0. Of course, this doesn't mean that everyone can do it. Some genius is necessary. Don't take op fruit's awakening as your awakening. His difficulty is beyond your imagination. Ye Chen said faintly, let me tell you this, the awakening of op fruit is 1,000 times more difficult than Logia devil fruit's awakening. Single quote. A royal family ruled the world back then, and wanted to be immortal. After receiving the devil fruit operation, he gave it to a famous genius to become an op fruit capable person, wanting them to become capable of performing immortal surgery. Quote. But after thousands of years and thousands of geniuses, the royal family finally got an op fruit capable of performing immortal surgery. It's just that this op fruit capable person performs immortality surgery, not for the royal family to enjoy, but for others to enjoy. 0. And you should know this person too. Yim, the man who created the world government. You guessed it, it's him. The royal family pursued immortality surgery too much, oppressing op fruit's abilities too much, which made op fruit abilities resentful, and as soon as they could awaken, they performed immortality surgery and gave immortality to others. Op fruit wants to be awakened. In addition to a strong talent, it also needs a certain chance. Otherwise, it is impossible to awaken. He has been studying op fruit for so many years in IM, but he has not studied. Come out of one reason. That's why I said that it is almost impossible for those with op fruit ability to awaken. Because it is too difficult. Well, I talked a lot with you today, but don't tell others about these secrets, otherwise it will cause a lot of waves and affect my plan. I understand Master Ye Chen. Doflamingo said respectfully. In the end, he still didn't ask that sentence. Ask Ye Chen if he is immortal. But he probably guessed it too. Because Ye Chen did not say that he was not an immortal, and of course he did not say that he was an immortal. But I learned from Ye Chen's words. He determined that Ye Chen should be the immortal. Because Ye Chen did not say that Yim is not the only immortal. This means that there are other immortals in this world. Ye Chen knows so many secrets, and is so young and powerful. Whether or not it is, Doflamingo knows. Chapter 79. Holy Land Mary Geois. In a luxuriously decorated room, the blonde 5 elders hung up the phone bug in his hand, looked at the 5 elders sitting next to him, and said faintly, Doflamingo has agreed. As expected, this guy passed by. After so many years, I still have great desire for the identity of celestial dragons. I don't know what is good about the identity of celestial dragons, but since this guy has this idea, he can just use it for us. A 5 elders with a long white beard continued, if you can use Doflamingo to destroy the Black Crow pirates, or kill Ye Chen, that would be great. But for the 5-year agreement, do you really intend to promise him? The blonde 5 elders showed a touch of disdain in his eyes, and said, of course it's impossible, just give this guy an expectation. 5 years is enough to kill 160 Ye Chen, but if 5 years haven't done it, it's okay. The identity of this guy was exposed, let Ye Chen kill him. Single quote. Between words. The meaning of the blonde 5 elders is already obvious, just let Doflamingo be a dog. If it's useful, it's okay. If not, then get rid of it, it's that simple. And they don't need to get rid of it personally. If they were as proud of what they wanted, and then angered Doflamingo as a spy, he believed that Ye Chen would get rid of Doflamingo. For betrayers or spies, no matter where it is the most hated existence. As for restoring the identity of celestial dragons, that's just their rhetoric. Regardless of whether they have this ability, even if they have it, it is impossible to do so, because it will be hostile to celestial dragons. Although they don't really like celestial dragons. But after all, celestial dragons is still the core of the world government, and celestial dragons cannot be offended too much. And they are not necessary, because Doflamingo offends celestial dragons. No point. Doflamingo is not as simple as you think. At this time, 5 elders, who was holding Kaido, pushed his round frame glasses, and said in a deep voice, "This guy is as cunning as a fox. He may not really agree to us. It is very likely that he will directly after the call is over." Reported to Ye Chen. It is very likely that Ye Chen knows that Doflamingo is our spy now. The words came out. Everyone was silent for a moment. Is this impossible? As long as Doflamingo is impermanent and cunning like a fox, he can do it anytime. Restoring the identity of celestial dragons may not really be so important. Impossible. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Blonde 5 elders shook his head. I have been investigating Doflamingo for a long time. This guy has a fanatical desire for the identity of celestial dragons. As long as there is a chance to restore the identity of celestial dragons, he will definitely not give up. Having said that, he paused for a moment, and said, and it doesn't matter if Ye Chen knows about it. He doesn't have a conversation between Doflamingo and me. I don't know what we will say, and he may not believe Doflamingo. The most important thing is that Doflamingo is not that stupid. If he reveals his identity now, it will be of no benefit to him. In addition, he was forced to join the Black Crow Pirates. I believe this guy treats Ye Chen. There is a lot of resentment in my heart. 5 elders, who was holding the sword, was silent, because what the blonde 5 elders said was not unreasonable. Doflamingo must have resentment for Ye Chen, after all, he was forced to join. And, with Doflamingo's wisdom, he might not say that he is a spy for 5 elders. Because it is not good for him. On the one hand, Ye Chen is unlikely to believe him. On the one hand, once the news comes out, his current situation will not change much, and he will even fall into a more embarrassing situation. What you said is not wrong. 5 elders, who is holding Tatu, said in a deep voice, but we still have to pay more attention. This guy Doflamingo is a little different from the rest. He won't be at ease listening to us as a spy. For his news, we'd better choose carefully. Although it makes sense. But he always feels a little uneasy. It may be the image that Doflamingo has brought to him over the years. Because this guy doesn't play cards according to common sense, and he is not such a simple character, if he believes Doflamingo in a few words, he will really die. That is inevitable, and the message it conveys, we use it as a reference at best, it is impossible to take it seriously. The blonde 5 elders smiled and said 0. How could they be so stupid, just believing Doflamingo's words? I said you don't need to worry too much. Doflamingo is only part of our plan, and it's not the most important thing. This guy is a dog. Just give him something and he will be obedient for a while. Although he is not a good dog, but the effect will be good for us for a while. If we don't want it, we can get rid of him. That's right, there is no need to worry about Doflamingo, this guy is in our hands, there is nothing to be afraid of. Single quote. 5 elders have expressed their opinions. They are generally extremely confident. In fact, they also have confident capital. Because they hold the lifeblood of Doflamingo. But Doflamingo can't do much to them. If the news from Doflamingo is false, they can expose Doflamingo's identity as soon as possible. He believed that Ye Chen would definitely not let Doflamingo go. On the contrary, Doflamingo exposed his deal with 5 elders, which did not have much impact on 5 elders. On the contrary, for Doflamingo, it is a huge influence. No one likes a spy. Precisely because of this lifeline. None of the 5 elders were very worried. If Doflamingo is not obedient, just get rid of it. No big deal. At the same time. In Dressrosa, in a palace, Ye Chen sat on the sofa and looked at the scenery outside the window, as if thinking about something. And at this time, a familiar voice sounded. The voice is extremely cold, without any emotion. Ding, the new sign in task is released. Ding, please sign in at Pluto, the king of Hades. The time limit is 1 month. Hear the system's prompt tone. Ye Chen was dumbfounded. Pluto. Chapter 80. Pluto. Ye Chen was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that the sign in task this time would actually be sign in at Pluto. Of course, this Pluto is not Pluto Rayleigh. But Pluto, the 3 ancient weapons of Pluto. The sign in task also said the names of the 3 main weapons Pluto, apparently telling him to sign in on the ship Pluto, the Pluto. If it's Pluto Rayleigh, it's actually no big deal. On the contrary, it is more relaxed. He is about to run to Chambord Islands, find Pluto Rayleigh and touch it, then it's okay. And his relationship with Pluto Rayleigh is good. Saying that he wants to learn from each other, Pluto Rayleigh will not refuse. But if you want to sign in on Pluto, the king of Hades, that would be very troublesome. As one of the 3 ancient weapons of Pluto, it is a problem that he does not exist yet. Because Pluto is a ship. No matter where he put it, after storing it for so many years, it was almost rusty and damaged. This is a bit troublesome. Ye Chen touched his chin and solemnly said, "Oh 9. Pluto, if I remember correctly, no one should know where he is, but the sea train has the blueprint for making Pluto, but whether that thing is real or another matter. And even if it is done, it is probably not the sign in place as the system said. Obviously, the Pluto mentioned in the sign-in should be the ship passed down in the legend, but where is this thing? I remember that Sand Crocodile guessed that this thing was stored in Alabasta. In the original book, the Sand Crocodile captured Alabasta even because Alabasta may have one of the ancient weapons of Pluto, and it is possible that the historical text owned by Alabasta records the location of Pluto. His guess and plan actually seemed to be correct. When he saw the historical text, Robin was a little surprised. It seemed that he had seen something incredible, but he stopped later. Moreover, the historical text is not a record of the place where Pluto was deposited, but some historical records of the royal family of Alabasta. If I'm right, that piece of historical text should record the location of Pluto. Ye Chen muttered to himself, this is also his guess, is it true? I don't know yet, but this is his only clue. There are very few records in the original works of Pluto. It is in Alabasta. As for the sea train, it is a new one, obviously it is unlikely that it is the Pluto mentioned by the mission. And that drawing, it doesn't have to be true whether it is Pluto or not. So, want to go to Pluto to sign in? Then you must go to Alabasta. Whether it's true or not. Ye Chen's eyes flickered and he said to himself, I have a reason to go to Alabasta once. Only by seeing is believing can I confirm the truth. Also, even if the historical text is false, the news that Pluto placed in Alabasta will not be false, it should be true. If the historical text is false, then I can only dig 3 feet and find Pluto. Anyway, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Pluto must be found. He doesn't care if Pluto can use it, but he has to find it. Because this is about his sign-in task. Every time you sign in, you won't get too bad, and it must be this time. Who knows if the sign-in task this time will be another heaven-defying ability, or a powerful character. Anyway, he has to find out where Pluto is. This guy Crocodile wants to find Whitebeard, seems to want to defeat Whitebeard. Ye Chen suddenly remembered why Crocodile wanted to find Pluto, and said weirdly, this guy doesn't really think that Pluto can defeat Whitebeard. Although the 3 major weapons, none of them is simple. But according to the original work, the king doesn't know for now. Neptune is a white star and possesses the ability to communicate with sea kings. Pluto is a huge ship, one shot can destroy an island. Powerful. But this does not mean beating Whitebeard. The guy Whitebeard can eat shock fruit with amazing destructive power. It is estimated that Crocodile will not have time to defeat Whitebeard with a cannonball. All have been destroyed by the power of Whitebeard shock fruit. This guy is also bad luck. Ye Chen said with a smile. I only wanted to sneak in, and it was almost successful. I didn't say anything when I met the protagonist group, but I also met me. It's already unfortunate to meet the protagonist group. But when I met Ye Chen, that's not to say that it is bad luck to describe it. Because if Crocodile this guy provokes Ye Chen, mostly it is dying. The protagonist team will not kill Crocodile. Of course. If Crocodile was sensible, Ye Chen might not kill him. After all, he is not a murderer. They don't kill at sight. Subsequently, Ye Chen summoned Doflamingo, Acids and them. Recent. It just so happened that they came back from other places. It didn't take long. Doflamingo, Acids, Galio. The 3 gathered in the living room. How is the situation lately? Ye Chen looked at Acids and asked, did the other 5 emperors express any attitude? Not yet. Acids said depressedly. These guys haven't heard any news, they are not interested in our expansion, but it is very likely that we haven't invaded their territory yet, so we didn't make a statement. How long will it take to encroach on their territory? At the current rate, it may take a month or 2. Speaking of this, Acids said, Captain, shall I first act on the territory of the 5 emperors? She is now extremely eager to start with the cadres of the other 5 emperors. It's just that these people don't come out, there is no way. But in the latter case, they will have to come out. After all, they all invaded their territory and had to fight. It just depends on Ye Chen himself. Who do you want to start with? Ye Chen smiled and said, as long as you find the right one, you can do it on them, no matter the red-haired Shanks, Whitebeard or Anthem. I haven't found it yet. I always feel that they are very strong. They are probably a good opponent. Acids said. Then the 3 parties go to war. Ye Chen said faintly. If you find one party, the other party will probably not be happy. I think we underestimate them. In that case, it's better to come from all 3 parties and tell them directly that the 3 parties are the same in our eyes. Single quote. Give them equal opportunities. The words came out. Acids looked extremely excited and thought it was a good practice. And Doflamingo opened his mouth wide. The heart is full of shock. Although he knew Ye Chen was very confident, he didn't expect to be so confident that he wanted to challenge the 3 parties. It's pretty simple. It's not something that can be described with confidence. Chapter 81. Anyone facing a 5 emperors force will be scared to death. Good guys. Ye Chen intends to challenge the 3 parties alone. This shocked Doflamingo, and he didn't even know what to say. To know. When they were the four emperors, they looked for opponents one by one, and they didn't dare to look for two. Even if Kaido is so arrogant, he can't dare to find two, only one can fight. Ye Chen would be better off looking for three. Direct and not empty. And Doflamingo looked at Ye Chen's attitude, obviously serious. Could it be that he has surpassed that level? Doflamingo secretly said in his heart. He has always felt that Ye Chen is an immortal. If he is an immortal, it is very likely that he has reached the level in the legend. If it reaches that level. Indeed, in the face of the 3-5 emperors, Ye Chen is also worthwhile. After all, strength is not a level anymore. Moreover, the level in the legend is extremely powerful, and it may be certain that it can face 3-5 emperors at the same time. The immortal is great, but I don't know how long Lord Ye Chen has lived. Doflamingo secretly said in his heart. Envy is admiration. After all, they are immortals. For thousands of years, a handful of existence. At the same time, immortals generally grow stronger the longer they live. The Im of the world government has lived for 800 years and has been ruling the world government behind the scenes, making 5 elders upon. This means that Im's strength is extremely strong, otherwise it would not be possible to silently control the world government for 800 years. It is very likely to reach the legendary level. Without strength, it is obviously impossible to control a behemoth-like world government. Not to mention, it is still 800 years old. I'm going out with Galio recently, and the matter will be handled by the two of you. Ye Chen looked at Doflamingo and Acedes and said, the pirate group's affairs are proceeding according to plan. If the resources of the plan are gone, they will ask Quinn and the others. I think they will not refuse to give it. The expansion of the power and the expansion of the territory is still according to the plan. If something happens, you can use the phone worm to notify me. Galio and I will be back as soon as possible. Understand. Understand. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Doflamingo and Acedes said respectfully. The two are curious about the departure of Ye Chen and Galio. But they didn't ask. Ace Daisy is too lazy to ask, because she knows that Ye Chen doesn't say it. She must have her own reason. If Ye Chen wants to say it, she will say it. And the big deal, when Galio came back, she was asking slowly. No big deal. As for Doflamingo, I dare not ask. Because he knows that if the person above does not speak, the person below cannot ask. Misfortune comes out of the mouth. He still knew this truth. I ordered everything. Ye Chen let them go, each busy. A few hours later, Galio flew out of the palace and disappeared into the sky. Grand Line. Aboard a pirate group. On the deck, sat a young man with a tall stature, an orange cowboy hat on his head, Madara with some finches on his cheeks, naked upper body, and a skull with a white crescent beard tattooed behind him. This is the symbol of the Whitebeard pirates. And this young man is the most famous pirate of the Whitebeard pirate group, the captain of the 2nd Division, Portgas de Ace. The pirate group under his feet is called the Straw Hat Pirate Group. Although it is not well known now, it will become famous in the future. If Ye Chen were there, it might be called the Protagonist Group. The protagonist of this world, Luffy's pirates. Ace was chasing Blackbeard Teach, the traitor of Whitebeard, and happened to meet Luffy and the others in this place. Ace, what are you looking at? Luffy stretched his neck and looked at the newspaper in Ace's hands and muttered to himself. The big pirate Ye Chen defeated the 4 emperors Kaido and became the 5th Sea Emperor. What is this? The words came out. Everyone was a little surprised. Zoro couldn't help but said, Luffy, you don't know the news. I don't know, this guy is amazing. Luffy couldn't help asking. The 5th Sea Emperor, the name of the Sea Emperor sounds like Haki. Don't you pay attention to the news? Solo helplessly explained, the Emperor of the Sea is currently the highest title of pirates. All 5 of them have the most powerful strength among the pirates. They command the New World in the second half of the Grand Line. This is called the New World. Emperor of the Sea. Your brother Ace is the Whitebeard pirate ship from the Emperor of the Sea. And this Ye Chen defeated the original Sea Emperor Kaido not long ago, and has now become the 5th Sea Emperor. This man is very powerful. Not much older than us, but he is stronger than me, and I heard that he is proficient in kendo. His strength may be stronger than Hawkeye, and he is very likely to be the strongest swordsman at the moment. However, the two have not yet played against each other, and it is not clear whether it is or not, but they are both very powerful swordsmen, and they are all targets of my challenge. Is it so powerful? Luffy exclaimed. Then I will defeat them in the future. Will I defeat all of these Sea Emperors, and I will be able to become the One Piece? Zoro's face froze, and he thought for a while. Almost. If one person can defeat the 5 emperors, no one objected to becoming One Piece. Because this is almost equivalent to standing at the top of the pirate. Luffy, it's good to have goals. Ace walked over and patted Luffy on the shoulder. He hesitated and said, I also believe you can beat him, but now you are not his opponent. If you meet him, you'd better stay away. This person is strong, very powerful, even I have no chance of winning. You have no chance of winning. Suo, the king's long, was a little surprised. According to your strength, it should be very strong in New World, so you don't have the power to fight him. What you think is too simple. Ace smiled bitterly. My strength is really good in New World, but the Sea Emperor is an unimaginable level of strength. If I face this person, if the other person is serious, I can't hold on for 3 seconds. Quote. The words came out. Everyone fell into a deep acquiescence. They know the power of Ace. But I didn't expect that such a powerful ace would be so vulnerable to Ye Chen, the emerging pirate emperor. The surrounding atmosphere fell into silence. Just now. Seeing the figure in the newspaper, Nami seemed to think of something, and blurted out, I seem to know this person. The voice fell off. Everyone looked sideways. Chapter 82. Nami, do you know him? Both Zoro and Sanji's were a little surprised. Why didn't they know that Nami still knew such a big man? Isn't she the little thief cat of Donghai? Moreover, I have been troubled by the dragon pirates for several years. What if Nami knew such a big man? Will it be done by the dragon pirates? Miss Nami, are you sure you know him? Ace pointed to the Ye Chen image in the newspaper and said seriously, this is not a joker. After Ye Chen became famous all over the world, I don't know how many forces are investigating Ye Chen's background, but they have found nothing. In fact, Ye Chen is not the only one. The same goes for Galio and Acides. They are all investigating, but nothing was found. The three seemed to appear out of thin air, and basically no news about them could be found. Of course it's true. Hearing Ace's words, Nami frowned, and said a little unhappy, how could I lie, but he might not know me. Having said that, Nami was a little embarrassed. Everyone. Hearing these words, everyone was even more bewildered. What is this nonsense? Didn't you know him? If he doesn't know you, then it's not really an acquaintance. Seeing the bewilderment of the crowd, Nami quickly explained, Luffy, you guys should know that my hometown was controlled by the dragon pirates in the past. We know this. Later when I went to your village, the dragon pirate group seemed to be destroyed by a strong man. Speaking of which, Zoro's voice stopped abruptly, as if thinking of something, his eyes widened and said, will that person be Ye Chen? It's him. Nami nodded. Nuchigao told me that Ye Chen came to Cocosia Village for no reason at the time. You know the dragon pirate group. The entire Cocosia Village was closed, and the Murlocs discovered Ye Chen's traces. After that, I acted on him, and then they were wiped out by Ye Chen. At that time Nuchigao followed Ye Chen to the lair of the dragon pirates and watched the dragon be killed by Ye Chen. Now Ye Chen has become the hero of our Coco village, and Nuchigao seems to have prepared Ye Chen for the statue. I didn't know at the beginning that he was Ye Chen of the Sea Emperor. After you said it, I remembered it. That's it. Everyone suddenly realized that they did not expect that the famous Sea Emperor would even become a hero. Saved a village. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I heard about this. I suddenly remembered something. Ace said. At that time, Ye Chen was offered a reward because he killed a Colonel Marine, and that Marine seemed to be related to some pirate groups. You're talking about Colonel Mouse, right? Speaking of Colonel Rat, Nami gritted his teeth and said angrily, this man is a scum, and he is not worthy of being a Marine. The reason why the Dragon Pirates is so arrogant is because this Colonel Mouse and the Dragon Pirates are in the same situation. Make our sea area so difficult. At the time, Colonel Mouse was trading with the Dragon Pirates. He happened to be in that place when Ye Chen killed him. So Ye Chen killed Colonel Mouse easily, but he didn't expect that Ye Chen would be offered a reward for this reason. Quote. Ace looked weird. He didn't expect that Ye Chen would have such a story after being offered a reward. It was unexpected. If Ye Chen killed Colonel Mouse and Marine didn't offer a reward, would you say Ye Chen would become a pirate? Sanjishi seemed to have thought of something and whispered. Heard these words. Everyone was surprised. There seems to be this possibility. If you didn't offer a reward, wouldn't Ye Chen not become a pirate? In that case, Marine would not have so many worries. After all, one more Sea Emperor is not so easy to solve. Not to mention, this Sea Emperor is not simple. If Marine knew that Ye Chen was a pirate for this reason, I guess they would all regret their death. Usopp, who hadn't spoken for a long time, said suddenly. What stupid thing to say. Zoro flipped through Byakugan and said, this kind of man wants to conquer this sea 100%. Even if there is no such thing, he will still go to New World. You are right. Ace grinned and said with a smile, such a man will definitely join the wave of this era. Even if there is no such thing, there will definitely be other things in the future. At that time, he could not be a pirate, he could be a Marine. Impossible, Ace said confidently. A man who even dared to kill celestial dragons, do you think he might become Marine? Marine is a dog of celestial dragons. It is impossible for such a character to become a dog of others. Ye Chen can't condescend to others, this is what our Captain Father Whitebeard said. Makes sense. A man who even dared to kill celestial dragons. How can you become a Marine? Although pirates are dangerous, they are at least free and don't need to worry about other things. But becoming a Marine is different. If you become a Marine, you don't need to tell the boss's face, even if you climb to Marine Admiral, or even Marine Marshal, there are still people pressing you on it, and you need to look at their faces. Even though the three-armed commander of the world government is empty and the position has climbed to the top of the world government, facing celestial dragons and 5 elders, is it not the same to be obedient? With Ye Chen's arrogant personality, if he really wants him to be a Marine, then it's really a bit difficult for him. Everyone was a little surprised that Whitebeard had such a high evaluation of Ye Chen. After all, it seems that Ye Chen hasn't been out to sea for long. But after thinking about it, they felt nothing. Because, although Ye Chen is a rookie, he has reached the pinnacle of pirates and became the 5th Sea Emperor. The status is the same as Whitebeard. There is no difference. At the same time, above the vast sky, a huge figure shot towards the distance, like lightning, sprinting forward. Lightning and thunder, the speed is amazing. And on the back of the huge figure, sitting on a handsome face, wearing a white robe, with a big sword hung around his waist, his eyes are as vast as a galaxy and unfathomable. Alabasta is coming. The man looked at the gradually clear figure in the distance and whispered in a low voice. Alabasta, the seat of Pluto. Chapter 83. From New World to Alabasta. Normal sailing takes at least a month or even a few months to arrive. Because there are great variables on the voyage, the weather will not be mentioned, and some pirates or marines will also be encountered. These are variables that waste time. And it takes time to stop. Only at Galio's speed, Ye Chen can shorten these distances in a few days. They were almost at Alabasta. And this is because Galio is flying all the time. If you change to other flying creatures, you probably won't be able to do this kind of thing. The first speed is not too fast. The second need to rest. And Galio satisfies these conditions perfectly. To this, he can get here so quickly. If you use a boat to sail, it is estimated that the time limit is 1 month, and it will be wasted on the road. Fortunately, Galio was drawn, otherwise I don't know how to complete these sign-in tasks. The sign-in locations are random. This time it may be in New World, the next time it may be in the East China Sea. And basically each time limit has a time limit, from 15 days to a month. In such a short period of time, it is really impossible to reach that place by boat. If it weren't for Galio's presence, Ye Chen's sign-in task is probably going to be a waste this time. Gario, how long will it take? It may take half a day. That's okay. It's almost half a day. Ye Chen. This time I plan to go directly to the capital of Alabasta. In the capital of Alabasta, Crocodile should be there. Whether you are looking for Robin or Crocodile, it is very convenient. Capital of Alabasta, Albana. At this time, in one room, a man wearing a black coat and a big back, with a cigar hanging from his mouth, sat on the chair in the middle of the room. His eyes were cold and he looked at the people below. Crocodile, one of Shichibukai, he is also the president of Baroque Studio. And beside him, there are several figures sitting in the core studios of the Baroque Studio. There is Nico Robin, the vice president, Mr. One Bonus and many other senior agents. Basically, the cadres of roughly the Baroque Studio are all gathered here. Originally they were all scattered separately. But they were all summoned back by Crocodile. This time, I don't want you to make any mistakes. Crocodile looked around the crowd with cold eyes, took a heavy cigar, spit out a thick cloud of smoke, and said in a deep voice, Princess Vivi and the Straw Hat Gang are in Albana, I hope you can catch them all. Understand, understand. Everyone responded one after another. Don't worry, President, this time we will never let them go. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The burly Mr. One Bonus said lightly, this time the Straw Hat Gang will never get out of Albana. Single quote. He has great self-confidence. Although the strength of the Straw Hat group looks good, but compared to them, it is far worse. It's not one level at all. And, this time Crocodile was there, and they were even more relieved. They are very clear about Crocodile's strength. If he makes a move, wouldn't the Straw Hat Gang catch it? Mr. One is right, the Straw Hat Gang can't get out of here. The rest of the Baroque studios expressed their opinions. Crocodile did not speak. Robin, who was sitting next to him, had a smile on his lips, looked at the book in his hand, and said nothing. It seems to have nothing to do with the things in front of you. I saw everyone saying so. Crocodile didn't say anything. Just let everyone go. Just now, a phone worm rang. Crocodile frowned and connected the phone bug. Suddenly, an anxious voice came. President, there is a giant in the sky. Single quote. Heard this sentence. Everyone's face changed slightly. They left the room one after another and went out. At this time, over Albana, a behemoth hovering high in the sky, with an extremely large body, seemed to cover the sky and sun, and plunge the entire Albana into the shadows. And, looking at the behemoth above from below, they could barely see the end. This is an unimaginable creature. What kind of monster is this? Mr. Two opened his eyes wide and slapped his tongue. He can't even see the creature in front of him, or is it no longer a creature, right? Such a huge body. What the hell is this? I am not sure as well. They don't really understand the creatures in front of them, or are they not creatures, but some kind of weapon? What is this? Crocodile turned to look at Robin and asked. As an archaeologist, Robin knows countless books. Often Robin knows something they don't know. Perhaps, can she recognize this thing in front of her? Hard to say. Robin looked deeply at the things in the sky, and said in a deep voice, like a creature, but also like a weapon. His whole body is made of rock, a bit like a weapon fortress in the legend. Single quote. ... But I feel that this thing is a bit like a creature, a brand new creature. What creature? I don't know what kind of creature he is, I only know that he is called Galio. The words came out. The crowd was in an uproar. Galio. Isn't that the core cadre of the Black Crow Pirates of the Five Emperors Pirates? That's a character comparable to Marine Admiral. The strength is extremely powerful. Unfathomable. It's just such a character. How could it appear here? And why does it appear? Just now. A voice sounded. Captain, we have arrived. Gario zooms out. We seem to scare a lot of people. The two bodies are affected. The behemoth in the sky gradually shrinks. In the end, it shrank to about 10 meters. And this time. Another voice came. Is Shichibukai Crocodile here? If so, come out and see me. The voice fell off. Everyone was shocked. Almost at the same time. The members of the Baroque studio looked at Crocodile. The Emperor of the Sea Ye Chen came to the door. What's the matter with me? Crocodile's face changed. He groaned for a moment, and finally made his own voice. The sound came out. Ye Chen's eyes lit up and he said, I found the man, and Galio will go over there. The voice fell off. Galio quickly flew over. At last. Falling down in a yard. Force. Chapter 84. Galio fell in the yard and Ye Chen jumped off Galio. With his feet on the ground, Ye Chen looked at the figure in front of him. Crocodile, Nico Robin, Mr. 1 bonus. The core of many Baroque studios seems to be here. They are all there. Ye Chen was a little surprised. According to the plot, they should all be scattered, right? It is impossible to gather together. However, Ye Chen thought about it and thought it was quite normal. After all, his appearance has changed a lot of things. The plot has changed, but that is normal. He has changed a lot of things with this butterfly. Very young. This is everyone's first impression of Ye Chen. This world-famous man who is already sitting at the apex of the pirate has a reserved breath and a smile, as if he is extremely approachable. But they can clearly feel that the breath that this man carries has an unimaginable heaviness. Just looking at it, it already made them feel suffocating pressure, as if their throat was pinched. It is difficult to breathe. Feeling uncomfortable. There seemed to be a shocking wave in everyone's hearts, and they could not calm down. The man in front of him is very dangerous, extremely dangerous. What do you want me to do, Ye Chen, the famous Five Emperors? Seeing Ye Chen landed, Crocodile's thoughts rolled, his breathing became a little heavier, his whole body tense, for fear that Ye Chen would suddenly have trouble. Nothing. Ye Chen smiled slightly, his face was very calm, and pointed to Robin and said, I want this person. The words came out. The crowd was in an uproar. They have guessed the various reasons why Ye Chen came here, but they have never guessed that Ye Chen came here only for one person. Nico Robin. A woman known as the son of the devil. It's just that they can't figure out why Ye Chen wants this woman. Hearing what Ye Chen said, Crocodile's heart was calm and his thoughts were rolling. Does he also know that Nico Robin has the ability to interpret historical texts? Still say there are other reasons. Or does he also know Pluto? Crocodile thought about all the possibilities Ye Chen wanted Nico Robin. But he couldn't guess why Ye Chen wanted Nico Robin. In addition, Crocodile has to consider whether to give Nico Robin out. Don't give. That would offend Ye Chen. As the emerging Sea Emperor, and the Sea Emperor stepping up on Kaido, Ye Chen's strength does not need to be questioned. If such an existence is offended, their fate will be miserable. But if you don't give it, there is no way to carry out his plan. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Because, even if they find the historical text that records Pluto, they can't do anything. The historical text that records Pluto is like a treasure chest, and Robin is the key to the treasure chest. If he gets a treasure chest, but it doesn't matter if he doesn't have a treasure chest, he can only watch it. To this, both are indispensable. If you want to implement the plan, Nico Robin definitely cannot give it. When Robin heard Ye Chen name her by name, he wanted her again. She was also a little shocked, even a little confused. Because she didn't know Ye Chen at all. And she has no value. Can Ye Chen invite him in person? Is it because I can interpret historical texts? Robin thought of this. If you want to talk about the value that can make Ye Chen's heart beat, that's probably the reason. Robin took a breath and looked at Crocodile next to him. The mood is very complicated. She wanted Crocodile to agree, but she didn't seem to be alike in her heart. Extremely hesitant, because she knew that if Crocodile found the historical text of Pluto, she would definitely be the first to kill her. But if it is given to Ye Chen, she is not sure about Ye Chen's personality. Will it be the same as Crocodile? After helping him find something, she will kill him as soon as possible. She is my most important companion. Crocodile took a deep breath and said, I can't promise this. He finally decided that he would rather offend Ye Chen. Neither will hand over Nico Robin. It's not how deep the relationship between the two parties is. But it cannot be handed in. If Robin is gone, no one will help him interpret the historical text, and his long-term goal will not be achieved. In order to find Pluto, Crocodile paid too much, and it took too much time. He can't give up halfway here. Not to mention, it's not that the Emperor of the Sea has never fought. Although he admits that Ye Chen is very strong. But it's impossible that he doesn't have the power to fight at all. Are you sure about this? Ye Chen smiled slightly. His voice was cold, and there was a hint of killing intent. I can give you another chance. If you still choose this way, then I can send you down 0. Sure. Crocodile turned into sand, and shouted, arc-shaped dunes. The mad sand swept across, Crocodile's arm turned into a crescent-shaped sand dune, gathered armament Haki, and slashed towards Ye Chen's neck. At the moment when the sand dune crossed, Crocodile was elementalized, ready to take Robin away from here. He is very clear about his strength, facing a strong man of this level, he is not an opponent at all, and he can only leave as soon as possible. If he can leave for the first time, Ye Chen may not be able to catch up with the speed of elementalization. However, next second, he was stunned. His eyes widened and his face was full of disbelief. As if seeing something incredible. Puff. Ye Chen suddenly appeared behind Crocodile, a hand running through his heart. When Crocodile was there abruptly, like a robot, looking down at the arm at the heart. His face was shocked. Hey, it's great to promise directly, if that's the case, I won't bother to kill you. The last second of consciousness. Crocodile heard this voice, feeling very complicated, a little regretful, and a little relieved. Bang. Ye Chen pulled out his arm, the armament Haki covering it dissipated, and Crocodile himself lay directly on the ground. The eyes collapsed, slowly losing luster. Quiet, deathly silence. Looking at Crocodile lying below, everyone's eyes widened and their faces were incredible. Crocodile, who owned Logia Devil Fruit, died. And it was killed in an instant. Both the Baroque studio and the new cadres couldn't understand it. Isn't Logia an immortal body? Can be immune to physical attacks. Why is it in the hands of this man now? Ms. Robin, the choice is now in your hands. Ye Chen smiled slightly and said faintly, what choice would you make? I still have a choice. Robin smiled bitterly. Crocodile's living example was in front of him, even fools knew how to choose. Chapter 85. Ye Chen took Robin away. Although Crocodile was killed, Ye Chen from the Baroque studio didn't do anything about it. It doesn't matter whether these people are killed or not, and they won't make any big waves. And instead of wasting time to kill them, it's better to take Robin to find the location of Pluto. Bang. As soon as Ye Chen left, several people from the Baroque studio were scared and sat on the ground. Gasping for breath. What is the strength of the Sea Emperor? This is too terrifying, I can't even look at him. It's so powerful that even the president was killed by a spike, and isn't it said that Logia Devil Fruit is immune to all physical attacks? Why can that person insert one hand into the president's heart? That is armament Haki. It can capture the body of Logia. Everyone talked a lot. Most of them marveled at Ye Chen's powerful forces, and the death of Crocodile also brought a lot of haze to everyone. Crocodile died. Their Baroque studio is gone. All of a sudden. They don't know what to do anymore. 09 seems to have lost the goal in life. Just now, Crocodile, lying on the ground, broke free, raised his head weakly, and whispered, Mr. 1. The voice fell off. Everyone was scared to death, and many others were exclaiming ghosts. President, are you okay? The burly Mr. 1 saw that Crocodile seemed to have recovered, and walked over with joy. His arm is inserted into my heart. I'm alive. Not long. Crocodile intermittently said, Mr. 1, you do something for me. Help me spread the news of Pluto. Tell Marine, tell those sea emperors, in any case, no matter what power you use, you must spread the news of Pluto. Just tell them that Pluto, one of the 3 ancient weapons, is in Alabasta, and that Ye Chen may have to acquire it now. After saying this, Crocodile's eyes widened, and his whole body fell down, becoming weak. This time it was completely dead. I know the president. Mr. 1 Bonus said in a deep voice. I will definitely help you do your business. Single quote. Talking. He lifted Crocodile's body and walked outside. The rest of the cadres saw this scene. Looking at each other. I don't know what to do. Revenge for Crocodile. How can it be? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Although it is a force, the relationship between the two parties has not yet reached that deep point. Moreover, Crocodile itself is also an extremely indifferent person, just using these people as tools, and the two sides have not established too deep feelings. It's just the relationship between the boss and the subordinates. And, even if they have a deep relationship, they dare not take revenge. Ye Chen's strength is already in front of them. Even Crocodile was killed in seconds. How could they be Ye Chen's opponent? Even if it passed. That's just to die. They are self-aware. They would definitely not do this kind of death-seeking thing. It's all gone. Now Crocodile is dead, and the Baroque studio is also disbanded. Let's go our separate ways. Goodbye. After a Baroque studio cadre said these words, he left the yard directly. The other side. In a room in Albana. Straw Hat Boys gathered together, as well as Princess Vivi, the princess of this country. At this time, they are discussing plans to deal with Crocodile. Crocodile is a Logia demon fruit power, a normal attack can't do anything to him. His body has no physical body. If you want to hit him, you may need water. Sanjishi smoked a cigarette and said to Luffy next to him, if Luffy meets Crocodile, water may be his only weakness. This time you go out, you have to carry water on your body so that you can attack. He can. Luffy said with a smirk, with water, I can beat him up this time. Logia Devil Fruit is really troublesome. However, elementalization is not invincible, and there are ways to restrain it. Armament Haki, sea water, or sea stone can be restrained. It's just that the current Straw Hat pirate group doesn't know this yet. They only know that Crocodile is sand and can be turned into a piece of sand, and water can condense the sand into a mass, so that it may capture Crocodile's body. In addition to Crocodile, you should also pay attention to the rest of the Baroque studio. Their strength is not weak. If one is not careful, it is very likely that we will all die. Sanji Shi said in a deep voice, especially this MR1, it is very dangerous. The voice fell off. Princess Vivi also nodded in agreement, and said, his strength is second only to Crocodile in the Baroque studio, and his ability can be turned into a sword. Although he has no weapons, his whole body is full of weapons. Facing this person, keep a distance from him at all times. Single quote. Second only to the existence of Crocodile. Zoro's eyes were condensed, and he said, leave this person to me. If it's a green algae head, it can indeed be dealt with. Sanji nodded. Zoro's strength is not bad, in the Straw Hat Pirates group, second only to the existence of Luffy. And MR1's ability is very piercing, except for Zoro, it will be very troublesome for everyone else to face him. This Mr. 2. Just when everyone was still discussing. There was a bang. The wall exploded suddenly, smoke billowed, and a sound came from outside. You don't have to think about any plans, Crocodile is dead. The voice fell off. Ye Chen, Robin, and Galio came in one after another. Heard these words. Sanji Shi was a little annoyed and was about to yell at him when he saw the faces of Ye Chen and Galio. His whole body was shocked. Swallowing what you were about to say abruptly. See Emperor Ye Chen, why are you here? Sanji Shi said in a deep voice. The look is solemn. He never expected it. Some time ago, I was still discussing the 5 emperors Ye Chen. It didn't take long before I actually met a real person. It's hard to be confident. Chapter 86. The appearance of Ye Chen immediately made everyone look like a big enemy. His complexion was solemn, his whole body tense, and he didn't dare to relax at all. The man in front of them brought them too much oppression. Whether it is Sanji or Zoro, they are all nervous to the extreme. On the other hand, Usopp was sweating and trembling all over, and was so scared that he almost wetted his pants. This is the Emperor of the Sea. Why is it so scary? Looking at the man in front of him, Usopp was full of fear. The man in front of Sori looked about the same age as them, but his aura was not at the same level. Just looking at it made Usopp terrified, as if his life were in the control of this man. As for Galio, he didn't pay much attention due to his honest smile. But don't worry about it. With Ye Chen, Kakuzu is the supporting role. Ye Chen didn't pay attention to the pancakes, but looked at the people below. In the end, his eyes fell on the woman with long blue hair. She had a nice face and a slender body. She was considered a very good beauty. Princess Vivi, come with me. Ye Chen looked at Princess Vivi and said faintly, now you don't need to worry about Crocodile taking your country. This guy was killed by me not long ago. As a reward, you have to come with me and find something. Crocodile is dead. Upon hearing these words, Princess Vivi was in a daze. Did the man who was so powerful that she despair really died? How can I believe it? Princess Vivi couldn't help asking. Although she knew that the man in front of him was extremely powerful, her years of fear made her hesitate. Hearing these words, Ye Chen laughed dumbfounded. Is he afraid of Crocodile to such a degree? Even his words were questioned. Princess Vivi, Crocodile is indeed dead. Robin on the side shrugged and said, if you don't believe it, you can ask someone to check it. And you also know my identity, because Crocodile died in the hands of this adult, I will follow him back quote. And as one of the Sea Emperors, Lord Ye Chen doesn't have to deceive you. These words came out. Everyone was a little shocked. Crocodile, strong enough to make them desperate, really died. It's unbelievable. After repeated confirmations, Princess Vivi was also in a trance, and a long-lost excitement surged in her heart. Crocodile finally died. The nightmare that haunted Alabasta for several years is now finally resolved. How are you thinking about it? Ye Chen said faintly. Would you like to follow me? I won't do anything to you, just let you lead the way. Before Princess Vivi could speak, Luffy suddenly stood up and said loudly, what do you want to do to my companion? Luffy looked at Ye Chen vigilantly, and said loudly, I don't care what your identity is, even if you are the Emperor of the Sea, if you dare to take my companion away forcibly, I will beat you away. The voice fell off. The Straw Hat Pirates didn't say anything. Sanji silently pinched the smoke, and slowly raised one foot. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Zoro drew out the sword and performed a three-sword style. Wait, Luffy. At this moment, Usopp walked out and said nervously, didn't he just say it? Just let Princess Vivi lead the way. It shouldn't be an important thing, and it shouldn't do anything to Princess Vivi. And we should leave this matter to Princess Vivi to deal with, see if she wants it or not. Seeing that his companion is ready to do it, Usopp was scared to death. The opposite is the Emperor of the Sea. At present, the culmination of the pirates, even if Marine Admiral comes in person, it may not be the existence of opponents. Is it really good for us to make such a move? What are you talking about, Usopp? Hearing Usopp's words, Luffy changed his usual hippie smile and said angrily, Vivi is our companion, can you let these people take away? Quote. Vivi is our companion, and I know this too. But you have to ask Vivi's attitude. Usopp was very tired. Vivi didn't say anything, and we don't have to say it. Moreover, the other party is also the Emperor of the Sea. Isn't he doing it now? Luffy, right, Garp's grandson. Ye Chen smiled slightly and said faintly, I think your companion is right. It's better to see Princess Vivi's attitude. If she is willing to follow us, then everyone will be fine, and I will not do anything to her. What? If you don't want it? Zoro said in a deep voice. There is no unwilling option for me. Ye Chen smiled faintly. The voice fell off. The surrounding atmosphere became extremely strange. Zoro and Sanji Luffy were murderous. Ye Chen himself looked calm, without any change. Rubber machine gun. Luffy bombarded Ye Chen with both hands, like a violent storm, toward Ye Chen. Sanji stomped hard, his feet like whip shadows, and with a sharp howling sound, he walked towards Ye Chen. Zoro swung the knife directly, and the sharp sword aura shot out. The three of them attacked first, and started almost at the same time. Bang! Galio, who was standing by as a mascot, suddenly disappeared. Next moment, he stood in front of Ye Chen, grabbed Luffy's hand with one hand, pulled Luffy straight over, and punched Luffy in the face. Bang! The big fist of the casserole was printed on Luffy's face, and Luffy was directly beaten and flew out. In the midair that flew out, Luffy screamed, and several teeth flew out with blood in it. Almost at the same time, Sanji and Zoro's attack fell on Galio. Chang chang. Just like the sound of swords colliding, Galio burst out with sparks, but there were no scars on his body, and no trace was left. How is it possible? Zoro and Sanji's eyes widened. Their moves are useless at all. This is the first time they have seen each other. The attack is too weak, so I don't even bother to use armament Haki. Galio said casually and gave them the same set meal as Luffy. Hit hard. The two were instantly defeated, flew out, hit the wall, and lay down slowly. In a moment, the three great forces of the Straw Hat Pirates fell instantly. This made the remaining Usopp and Nami stare. Unbelievable. Only now did they remember why Luffy's brother Ace told them that if you see Ye Chen, it is best not to do it. They didn't understand the team very well before. Now I finally understand. It is not a level of combat power at all. There is no need for Ye Chen to take action personally, one of his subordinates can instantly defeat the three strongest members of their pirate group. This kind of strength has exceeded their imagination. And, a subordinate is already so strong. As the leader, how strong is Ye Chen? Chapter 87. Damn it, why your fist is like my grandfather, can hit me. Luffy climbed up from the ground with difficulty, looked at Galio in the distance with trembling body, and said in a deep voice. And the other side, Zoro and Sanji also stood up slowly. As a character in the protagonist group, all of them have the physique of immortal Xiaoqiang, as long as they are not blown up in the heart or head, they can basically stand up immediately. This is armament Haki, which can capture the body of demon fruit power. Ye Chen explained and said, as the grandson of marine hero Garp, you don't even have this common sense. It's amazing. And your father is a dragon of the Revolutionary Army. Didn't he tell you too much about these things? It sounds strange. Luffy's background is terrifying, and he has this person among the three major forces in the world. For example, the pirate has red hair here. Marine has Garp. The leader of the Revolutionary Army followed his father. Except for celestial dragons, there may be none, there are basically people in other places, and they are still strong in the world. The background is so profound that no one can beat it. But Luffy, who goes to sea, has a poor foundation, and doesn't even know Haki's foundation. Although Ye Chen knows, maybe the author never considered Haki when he drew comics. But this is the real world, and it's a bit weird no matter how you think about it. Garp and Long didn't teach anything, so they let his son go out to sea, and their hearts were not so big. Luffy's grandfather is the marine hero Garp. Dad is the dragon of the Revolutionary Army. Both Usopp and Nami were shocked. Luffy's background is so deep. Grandpa, I know, but who is the dragon? Luffy said, how did you know he is my father? From small to large, Luffy hadn't seen the dragon very much, or hadn't seen it at all, but Garp had seen it many times. What to do with the green algae head? Sanji whispered to Zoro next to him. Luffy's background, if you change it to before, I would be surprised. But now he doesn't care anymore. Because Galio puts too much pressure on them, all three of them were swept directly by just one encounter. Strong enough to make them feel desperate. It can even be said. Galio is the most terrifying enemy they have encountered since they went to sea. Even if it is Hawkeye, it may not be comparable. This is the instinct of Sanji. What else can I do? Zoro said in a deep voice, I can only try desperately. With their strength, it is impossible for us to want to go. Although the chance of winning is small. But they can only fight to the death. Even if I want to go, I guess I can't. Not to mention. Ye Chen hasn't shot yet, and they heard that Ye Chen's speed is amazing. If they want to escape, Ye Chen may be able to catch up. How is Princess Vivi thinking about it? Ye Chen said faintly. My patience is not so full, it's better to give you a chance to follow us or not. Heard these words? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Princess Vivi looked at the three Luffys who fell on the ground, took a deep breath, and said in a deep voice, I'll go with you. By now, she also knows. If she doesn't leave, the man in front of him might be a big killer. Although Luffy's background is very deep. But Princess Vivi could hear that the man in front of him might not care. After all, this one is the Emperor of the Sea. If he really wants to start, he might not be afraid of the people behind Luffy. Princess Vivi walked over, Ye Chen touched her cheek and said, "You made a good decision. You saved them." With that, Ye Chen greeted several people to leave. "Leave me." Seeing Princess Vivi being taken away, Luffy's eyes were red, and he let out a loud shout, resisting the pain on his body, and rushed towards Ye Chen. Almost at the same time, Zoro and Sanji also had trouble at the same time. Just now, a terrifying aura burst out, Ye Chen's Conqueror's Haki exploded, like an invisible shock wave, moving towards all directions. There was a bang. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji. The three fell to the ground instantly. At the last second when everyone lost consciousness. A voice came. "It's too weak, so weak to this level, I don't know why Shanks guy exchanged an arm for this guy, in my opinion, it's not worthwhile." The voice fell off. Everyone in the room. He fell to the ground instantly and fainted. Mr. Luffy. Princess Vivi was shocked and wanted to run to save Luffy and others. But Ye Chen grabbed his arm and said faintly, "These people just fainted. I'll be fine later. Also, if you are not obedient, it is not that they are dead, but that your entire country is going to perish." Heard this sentence. Princess Vivi suddenly stiffened there. Eventually she stopped and followed Ye Chen away. The protagonist group. Ye Chen didn't want to move them much. The main thing is to kill them. There is a lot of trouble. Garp, Dragon, and Shanks. It is estimated that you will have to fight hard with him. And there is an ace on Whitebeard's side. If this guy dies, that would be a big trouble. It is estimated that celestial dragons are not comparable. Sometimes, Ye Chen wondered, if Luffy died in the war, would the fellow Akainu be cut off? Maybe Marine can't keep it, right? After all, Garp's strength was still online at the time. If he was really crazy, the consequences would be unimaginable. And there are Shanks and dragons. They are all leaders of top powers. If you avenge Luffy, then the whole world will probably be in chaos. Although Ye Chen is not very afraid of these people. It's just that the Black Crow pirates are still in the developmental stage, so it's better not to cause these troubles for the time being. After a long time, Luffy and others slowly got up. Seeing that Princess Vivi and Ye Chen had already left, Luffy was a little bit disappointed and his eyes were a little hollow. The mood is full of self-blame. After all, he still didn't protect his companion. The faces of Zoro and Sanjishi were not very good either. Sanjishi remained silent, smoking cigarettes continuously, his expression blackened to coals. This time it gave them a big blow. Let them realize their weakness. Also recognize the degree of terror of the strong. They thought they were not bad anymore. But facing the top strong, they finally understood one thing. Compared with the top powerhouses, they are tens of thousands of miles away, which is not a dimension of strength at all. Seeing that everyone is still alive, Usopp is somewhat fortunate. Although Wei Wei was taken away, none of their companions died after all. But seeing everyone so lonely, Usopp dare not say anything. Usopp at this stage is still very afraid of death. The mentality has not yet grown up. Chapter 88. Master Ye Chen, where are you going? Princess Vivi carefully looked at Ye Chen in front of her, speaking very carefully, for fear that Ye Chen would suddenly have trouble. In her heart, Ye Chen is an extremely terrifying man. Although she is very handsome, she is undoubtedly a demon in her heart. Even more than Crocodile, a terrifying nightmare. Underground burial sacrifice hall. Ye Chen said faintly. This thing should be familiar to you, as long as you take us over, open the gate of the funeral sacrifice hall, you will be fine. Single quote. A piece of historical text is stored in the funeral hall. This historical text records the location of Pluto. Robin knew about it in the original book, but she didn't tell Crocodile. It is good. Princess Vivi breathed a sigh of relief when she heard that she was just heading to the funeral hall. It's easier to just lead the way. After all, if this is the case, she would not be in much danger. Sure enough, is it Pluto? A gleam of light flashed in Robin's eyes, and he said to himself in his heart. Although Ye Chen didn't tell her bluntly, what was the reason for carrying her? But after these things, she also faintly guessed it. Ye Chen's goal is Pluto. The three legendary weapons. Although she didn't know how Ye Chen learned about Pluto, she followed the current route. Ye Chen's goal is indeed Pluto. The other side. After Mr. One Bonus left, he quickly contacted Marine headquarters via a phone worm. This is Crocodile's phone worm. Although they are organizations belonging to the world government. But they also have a way to contact Marine headquarters. After connecting to Sengoku, he said all of the news 1, 5 and 10. Are you sure Ye Chen is preparing to take Pluto in Alabasta? Sengoku was shocked when he heard the news. How did Ye Chen, a fellow, got to Alabasta? And they are all ready to seize the legendary weapon Pluto. Not long ago, isn't he just in New World? Very sure. Mr. One said coldly. Because this was originally our goal, but Ye Chen intervened in this matter and killed our president Crocodile. Single quote. This is what our president told me before he died. Marshal Sengoku can choose not to believe it, but if Ye Chen really gets the Pluto, it must be a good thing for you Marine, right? As one of the 3 ancient weapons, Marshal Sengoku should know the power of Pluto better than I do. Sengoku was silent. Indeed, as MR1 said, if Ye Chen had Pluto, it would indeed have a great influence on them. After all, it is one of the ancient weapons. It is rumored that a single shot can blow up an island, and its power is beyond doubt. If Ye Chen owns this ship, the consequences are unimaginable. Later, if they want to destroy the Black Crow pirates, it will be even more difficult. At least fighting at sea. They can't get any advantage. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I see, I will send someone to investigate. Finish saying this sentence. Sengoku hung up directly. Mr. One didn't care either. The news has already spread, so it's up to Marine whether he cares. Subsequently, Mr. One contacted the rest of the forces. He is basically contacting some well-known forces. Prepare to spread all the news of Pluto in Alabasta. He didn't know what the consequences would be. But if it can stop Ye Chen. Stop the Black Crow pirates. That's it. As for Alabasta, will it be destroyed? This has nothing to do with him. He just spread the news. This is the task Crocodile gave him before he died. He just needs to execute it. For the rest, he didn't care at all. Although the pirate world is not like modern society, it can spread news all over the world. But because of the existence of the phone worm, lots of news. Almost a short time spread to all major forces. Regardless of New World. It was the first half of the Grand Line, or the well-known forces in the 4 seas, all got news of Pluto for the first time. The appearance of Pluto suddenly detonated the whole world. Let countless forces start to move. Hades. It was one of the 3 ancient weapons, with infinite power, and if they could get it, it would greatly enhance their own strength. And Pluto is still a ship. If available, fight on the sea. They will not be afraid of anyone. And this world is generally fighting at sea, if you can get Pluto. That really couldn't be better. As for Ye Chen, no one cares. Even though Ye Chen is the emperor of the sea, in the face of Pluto's longing, most of the powerhouses put these things behind. Not to mention, there are so many emperors on the sea, and Ye Chen is not alone. They can move their hearts. Those sea emperors will definitely be heartwarming. Because they knew very well that if Ye Chen had Pluto, he would be the most powerful sea emperor at present. For this matter, they will not let go easily. A wave of madness has risen, and prominent forces around the world have begun to move towards Alabasta. First timing. Doflamingo also received this news. Although he knew that Ye Chen and Galio were leaving, he did not expect that Ye Chen ran out and seized Hades quietly. This is somewhat unexpected. Master Ye Chen is indeed an immortal, and he even knows the whereabouts of Pluto. Although Doflamingo was a little surprised, he was not as shocked as the others. After all, he knew Ye Chen was an immortal, and his survival time was far beyond their imagination. The secrets he could know would be great. Besides, Ye Chen knew about the news about Yimu. Now it is normal to know the whereabouts of Pluto. At the same time, a phone worm carried by Doflamingo rang. This is the phone worm of 5 elders. Doflamingo, what's the matter with you? Why Ye Chen is going to seize the news of Pluto? You didn't tell us in advance. 5 elders was angry and depressed. Doflamingo didn't notice this kind of big thing at the first time. Does this guy don't want the identity of celestial dragons? They are considering whether or not to expose the identity of this guy. How long have I joined the Black Crow Pirates? Do you think Ye Chen can tell me about this important thing? Doflamingo sneered and said, and even if I know I tell you, can you believe it? Of course I can't believe it. As Doflamingo said, he has not been in the Black Crow Pirates for a long time, and it is impossible to get the secrets of the Black Crow Pirates. If Doflamingo tells them, Ye Chen is plotting Pluto. It is estimated that 5 elders and others are still considering whether Doflamingo is blinding them, or Ye Chen is designing a trap. All of a sudden, 5 elders was silent. Chapter 89. Seeing 5 elders being speechless, Doflamingo sneered, you know it in your own heart. Even if I tell you these secrets, you will never believe it. Besides, I have not yet entered the Black Crow Pirates' core lair. Although I long for that identity, it does not mean that I am your dog. I am different from the marine guys. You and I are just different. So let go of your so-called arrogance. And you don't have to threaten me with the spy. If you do, I don't mind exposing some secrets of the Holy Land. I believe Ye Chen still likes listening to these news. If it was before, facing 5 elders, Doflamingo still has some fear, but now Doflamingo has no fear at all. What about restoring the identity of celestial dragons? After returning, he would still be discriminated against by those people, and with the temperament of celestial dragons, he would not be accepted at all. Rather than go back and suffer, he might as well stay in the Black Crow Pirates Group 170 and mix together, safer and freer. After all, Ye Chen is an immortal. Although the status is definitely not as good as those of the world government, they do not need to be afraid of the world government. And Doflamingo can see that Ye Chen's ambition will destroy the world government sooner or later. Whether it can succeed or not, Doflamingo has no confidence in his heart. After all, The world government has been in existence for so many years, and the foundation it possesses is beyond ordinary people's imagination. But what if it succeeds? If Ye Chen succeeds, he will be the same as the 20 royal family 800 years ago, let his royal family become celestial dragons, and thus have his own voice in the new world government group. Instead of becoming a celestial dragons that celestial dragons don't recognize internally. Humiliation, discrimination. Doflamingo is a bit gambler, but the world is crazy. Everything carries risks. No one knows whether it will succeed in the future. If you change to an ordinary person, you may not be able to gamble. But Doflamingo is a crazy person. He is willing to gamble. It doesn't matter if he is dead, at least he has fought for it, and if he fails, he fails. It's nothing serious. And the appearance of Ye Chen at least gave him hope, but before, whether it was the world government or as a pirate, he did not want to see the dawn of hope. You are threatening us, Doflamingo. 5 elders on the phone worm raised in anger and said, do you know what these words you are saying now will mean? He admits this matter, they are indeed a little confused. But this is not the reason Doflamingo can threaten them. Who are they? The people in power on the face of the world government, even if the celestial dragon's core is respectful to them, let alone Doflamingo, the unrecognized celestial dragons. What about threatening you? Doflamingo sneered and said, the big deal is that you expose my behavior, let my identity as a spy be exposed to the public, and then Ye Chen will kill me with the knife. But 5 elders, have you ever thought about it? I don't care about this. If you push me into a hurry, I will expose your secrets. Of course, you may not care, but it doesn't matter. I would rather die and bite off a piece of your meat. At least it can make you hurt. Also, if you really don't care about those secrets, that's not necessarily it. At least not to mention external influences, the blame of celestial dragons and Yim, I guess you may not be comfortable. The words came out. The pupils of the 5 elders in the Holy Land Mary Geois shrank. Doflamingo actually knows the existence of Lord Yim. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Although Doflamingo knew that there were other people behind them, the real name of Lord Yim, Doflamingo, still didn't know. Simultaneously, there are very few people who know the existence of Yimu, almost one hand can count it. They are basically people from the Holy Land. And how did Doflamingo know? Doflamingo, you have changed. 5 elders said in a deep voice, you have become a little strange, so we almost didn't even know you. Doflamingo has indeed changed a bit. Although Doflamingo was crazy in the past, it has not yet reached this point, and Doflamingo's madness is aimed at people, if it is against 5 elders, or the Emperor of the Sea. Doflamingo still dare not presume. But now, Doflamingo is not afraid anymore. This surprised 5 elders and the others. As for 5 elders hasn't talked about it yet. Because it's inappropriate. For a 4, everyone is an old guy who has changed. Doflamingo laughed strangely and said, I said so much, just to tell you that we are just a transaction, not a relationship between superiors and subordinates. If you still have the same attitude as Marine, then don't blame me for doing some crazy things. 5 elders was silent. If it was before, 5 elders might get angry directly. But now, they hesitate. It's not because of Doflamingo's existence, but because of Ye Chen's existence. Ye Chen is already very difficult in their hearts. Now you may get Pluto again. In the future, Ye Chen is definitely a difficult target for them to solve. To solve Ye Chen, they must have a chess piece inside. Neither Galio nor Acedes is the best choice, because they don't know their identities at all, and it's very difficult for them to become pawns. And Doflamingo is obviously a good pawn. If they missed Doflamingo, it would be difficult for them to break into the Black Crow Pirates. After pondering for a moment, 5 elders said, this is indeed our fault, I can apologize to you. You will never see this situation again in the future. We can give you the respect you want, but in exchange, we need to know the first-hand internal news of the Black Crow Pirates. Any news will do. Hearing what 5 elders said, Doflamingo's heart blossomed. These guys really eat hard but not soft. I can agree to this, but recently you don't want to get first-hand internal information, because you haven't really gained the trust of Ye Chen. It will take a while to get the real core news. We can wait for you. Subsequently, the two chatted for a while, and each hung up. Look at the phone worm. Doflamingo sneered, and said with a smile, idiot. The other side. After 5 elders hung up the phone worm, his face turned black, and he grabbed something next to him and threw money away. He yelled, damn guy, I want to kill this guy right now, Doflamingo, this bastard is too presumptuous. The remaining 5 elders were silent. There was anger in his eyes. They are similar to this 5 elders, they all want to do it. But they all understand. You can do it. But now is not the time. After a while, 5 elders, who was holding Kaido, pushed his glasses, and said in a deep voice, Doflamingo must solve it, but not now. Wait for now. We will give him another year of things. If we can't give us the core the news about him will expose his identity, and at the same time let the people of CP0 do it. Agree. It is good. The others nodded and agreed, and they couldn't bear Doflamingo's attitude. Don't kill now. It's just that Doflamingo alone has some usefulness. And this time, a 5 elders whispered, notify Marine, let them go to Alabasta to investigate and see if the news is true. If Pluto is really obtained by Ye Chen, the consequences will be disastrous. Okay. Everyone nodded, and then contacted Marine. Chapter 90. Sengoku received the contact from 5 elders as expected. Especially when it comes to Ye Chen. Sengoku knew it a long time ago. Because he was the first to get news of Ye Chen's capture of Pluto in Alabasta. We will arrange for someone to go there now. After dealing with 5 elders, Sengoku said to Marine outside, let the 3 Admiral come here, and Lieutenant General Garp. Single quote. It didn't take long. 3 Admiral arrived one after another. It is very rare today. All 3 Admiral are here. Because Admiral generally needs to perform tasks, if all 3 of them are together at the Marine headquarters, apart from important things, it basically depends on luck. Ha ha ha. What happened to Sengoku? It made us all pass. Garp wears a dog head hat, eats senbei, walks into the office and sits on the sofa and laughs. Marshal, can something happen again in New World? It's not Ye Chen who is going to challenge other Sea Emperors, right? Kizaru curled his mouth and said in a low voice. It is possible that all of us can gather together in 09. Aokiji lay on the sofa with a lazy expression. He stretched his waist and yawned and said, it's only since Ye Chen appeared, the sea has never been calm, and I don't know when this guy will be peaceful for a while. Akainu was silent. It's just that his face is very serious and ugly. When they talked about Ye Chen, Akainu's eyes flashed a sharp look. Battle of Chambord Islands. He fought as a shame, and always wanted to find a chance to wash away this shame. Although I don't know what happened. But they probably all know who it is related to. There is no one except Ye Chen. Although New World has 5 Sea Emperors. But Kaido, the most noisy one, was defeated by Ye Chen and now calmed down. The rest of the people have been calm. As long as no one provokes them, they basically won't do anything. Exclude these. There is only one possibility left. That is Ye Chen. As a rising Sea Emperor, Ye Chen has been expanding his territory, and sooner or later he will have conflicts with other Sea Emperors. And so, they all felt that it was probably because of this matter. I call you this time, indeed because of Ye Chen. Sengoku knocked on the table and whispered. Really? Everyone knew it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It really was this guy. Now this guy has been making noise. Marshal, this guy won't attack the Sea Emperor again. Who is the opponent this time? Charlotte Linlin, or the redhead Shanks, or the guy Whitebeard? Kizaru said. Sengoku shook his head. Kizaru was a little surprised. If it wasn't these people, what did Ye Chen do? Could it be possible to kill celestial dragons again? Since it is not the contradiction of the Sea Emperor. Kizaru couldn't think of the other possibility that they could all gather. Also killing celestial dragons, there is still this possibility. Others may not be able to say. But Ye Chen, a lunatic, really dared to kill celestial dragons a second time. After all, this is the first time. There will be a second time. Neither. Sengoku explained. What Ye Chen did this time has nothing to do with what you said. Now Ye Chen is in Alabasta. He is looking for something extremely dangerous. Although it is only a rumor, if it is true, then the whole world will be greatly changed. I need you to go over and investigate the truth of this news. Heard these words, everyone is sure in their hearts, which can make Sengoku feel extremely dangerous, and even affect the entire world. This kind of thing must be extraordinary. Marshal, what is Sengoku looking for? Could it be an ancient weapon? It's an ancient weapon. Sengoku nodded and said in a deep voice. There is news that Ye Chen has truly captured Pluto, one of the 3 ancient weapons in Alabasta, and it seems that there is already a clue. This news has never been received, Marshal. Is it real? Kizaru asked. I'm not sure whether it's true or not. Sengoku hesitated and said, this news came through Crocodile's cadres. Crocodile has been tracking down the whereabouts of Pluto. It seems to be a little eye-catching, but he was killed by Ye Chen in the middle. Now Ye Chen is taking over this matter. And there is news that Ye Chen has appeared in the capital of Alabasta, killing him, as well as Galio. Single quote. Ye Chen and Galio both appeared. This means that things may indeed be true. Everyone is a little dignified. Ye Chen is already extremely powerful now. If he gets Pluto by him, the consequences will be disastrous. Old man, let's go. Garp, who hadn't spoken for a long time, said in a deep voice. The old man just tried Ye Chen's strength. Seeing that he has reached that level, and Marine is very busy now and needs Admiral to appear. If all 3 of them pass, for it's not a bad thing for Marine. Seeing that Garp is ready to pass, Sengoku said. Atakuzan, you two won't lose the opponent by joining forces. And you have to remember one thing. This time it is not to kill Ye Chen, but to investigate the truth of the news. Everything is important to the news. If you want to kill Ye Chen, you really get Pluto. You have to notify me as soon as possible, people will be asked to go there. If this is a fake, you can come back right away. We are not at war with Ye Chen, and you may not be sure if you have a person. Neither Aokiji nor Garp said anything. Because what Sengoku said is true. The strength of the 2 sides is close, and no one will win. It is easy for Ye Chen and them to kill the opponent. And this time the news of Pluto spread all over the world. Maybe many people are heading to Alabasta. If they fight to the death with Ye Chen, they may lose both sides in the end, and they may succeed others, which is not very cost-effective. In fact, it wasn't just Marine who sent people there. New World, Grand Line, all over the world, the top forces in various sea areas have been dispatched one after another, and even because of Pluto, some ships that originally went to the Grand Line or the New World have moved. All are heading to Alabasta. Due to this reason, Alabasta, which had not been paid attention to by many people, suddenly became hot and became the target of many people. Even the 5 emperors were dispatched. The ant sent a cadre to Alabasta. On the side of Whitebeard and Red Hair, there was no trace. Chapter 91. New World. When the whole world is rushing to Alabasta frantically to find the whereabouts of Pluto. As the 5 emperors, Red Hair pirates and Whitebeard pirates. No one was sent to Alabasta. Instead, in a piece of sea, the ships of 2 large pirate groups leaned together. Aboard the Moby Dick, numerous pirates of the Whitebeard pirate group, holding weapons, their whole bodies tensed, nervously watching the middle-aged man coming up from the boat below. The middle-aged man wore simple clothing, with an ordinary knife blade around his waist, and he was dragging a huge hip flask in his hand. His head was full of red hair, and his face had scars like paw prints. Although his face looked a little scribbled, and he looked like a decadent middle-aged uncle, the sharp eyes like a falcon made everyone present dare not look down, even a little nervous. 5 Emperors Redhead Shanks. Like Ye Chen during this period, he relied on his own strength to change the layout of New World to 4 Emperors. The strength is unfathomable, even though the Emperors dare not underestimate, they dare not say that they can be better than the man in front of them. Bang! With each step the man took, the entire ship shook violently, and the pirates surrounding the man turned Byakugan over and fell on the deck. Conqueror's Haki. It was almost like the materialized Conqueror's Haki, like an unimaginable shockwave rushing around. Not only the pirates fell, but even the ship's guardrail was broken. This is what Conqueror's Haki has cultivated to an extremely high level. What's going on? This is Conqueror's Haki. Seeing their companions keep falling, some pirates began to panic. It seems to be too late. Marco on the side leaned against the guardrail, glanced at the companions next to him, then looked at Shanks, and said faintly, "This man's Conqueror's Haki has reached the level of perfection. If the will is not firm, just approach he has lost his consciousness and his fighting ability." Single quote. Lose consciousness just by approaching. The pirate on the side opened his mouth wide and was shocked. Although they knew that Shanks, as the 5 Emperors, was extremely terrifying, they didn't expect to be so powerful. After all, the pirates who can be on the mobile are considered the elite of Whitebeard's pirate group. It is not easy for the ordinary Conqueror's Haki to stun them. Offended backquote. Shanks stepped on his footsteps, raised his head to look at Whitebeard in front of him, smiled slightly and said, "The enemy ship came to threaten once. Seeing your face makes the injury on my face a little bit painful." Whitebeard sits in the first place. Although there are a lot of medical pipes in his body, it looks like an old man, but Haki and majesty are not reduced, the golden eyes are extremely sharp, and Shanks said in a cold voice. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. "So I brought you medical water today." Shanks smiled and said indifferently. Whitebeard gave Shanks a deep look. Then he looked at the cadres next to him and said, "This guy doesn't seem to be causing trouble, let us stay a while." Hear the words. The members of the pirate group, Marco and Whitebeard, retreated. On the huge deck, only Shanks and Whitebeard were left. "Originally, I planned to find you a long time ago." Shanks took out the jug and poured himself a glass, then threw the whole jug directly to Whitebeard, and said faintly, "But something happened in the middle of the way and solved it, so I only came to find you now." Like Shihai's wine. Whitebeard took a few sips, paused, and said, "This is my hometown wine." Shanks smiled and said, "I feel pretty good." Single quote. Bang. Whitebeard put down the hip flask, looked at Shanks, and said faintly, "The kid on Roger's boat has grown up now. When I see your face, I will remember that decades ago, you and that red-nosed kid approached me and said that if they wanted to kill me, I would feel funny. We were indeed reckless back then." Shanks smiled slightly. It has been many years since that incident, and the sea has also changed. The times have indeed changed. Whitebeard said lightly. Our group of people, Roger, Shaki, Garp, there are not many people who can live now. Single quote. Speaking of which, Whitebeard turned the conversation and said, "But I'll talk about these things later. This time, what do you want me to do?" "For Ye Chen's business." Shanks came to the door. It was a bit beyond Whitebeard's expectations. Although the two are both sea emperors, they have not met for many years, and they have been flooding the river. Shanks came to visit in person this time, and Whitebeard was still surprised. And it's rare to see people at their level. Seeing once is not for fighting, but for other things. Backquote does have something to do with Ye Chen. Shanks said faintly, "But it's not all. Apart from Ye Chen this time, there is one more thing." "Then talk about Ye Chen first." Whitebeard interrupted. "Could it be that Ye Chen chose to do something with you? Everyone knows. Ye Chen's expansion of the territory will sooner or later erode the territory of the remaining sea emperors, which is inevitable. It's just a matter of time. And they didn't have any episodes, they just wanted to see who Ye Chen wanted to attack. This is not enough." Speaking of Ye Chen, Shanks's face became serious, but this will happen sooner or later, and his goal, to get Zhao's, this time is probably not us alone. Based on their expansion speed and direction, it is estimated that more than I'm alone, you and Charlotte Linlin are in the period, and it's almost the same time. Ye Chen has a huge conspiracy this time, not like one of our three parties, but three parties at the same time. It's estimated that when he finds Pluto, it's time to start. Whitebeard said. To directly deal with the three parties, Ye Chen's ambition is indeed not small. It is estimated that it is the most ambitious among us. Although Kaido was arrogant, it is really inferior to Ye Chen. Shanks was silent. Kaido is notoriously arrogant, and almost every once in a while he will act on other sea emperors. It's just that Kaido only picks one person, and Ye Chen picks three parties this time. Had it not been for Kaido had been defeated. It is estimated that the previous four emperors were all his targets. Chapter 92. Whitebeard, what do you think of this man? Shanks raised his head and looked at Whitebeard seriously and said, or if Ye Chen would do something to you then, what would you do? Cuckoo. Then naturally challenge him. Whitebeard took a sip of wine and said with a smile, although this guy is not as capable, it would be 100 years before he wanted to occupy my Whitebeard territory. As for this guy, the old man is not good, but with his age and strength, he is likely to go where Roger went back then, and I always feel that this man will bring changes to the world. Although I haven't met this man yet, my instinct tells me that this man's achievements are likely to surpass Roger. Don't say anything else, at least at the level of strength. He has this opportunity. You have already stepped into this level. You should also know that there is a level above us. Roger almost reached that level back then, but in the end, the success was defeated. An aura rose from Shanks, like a hurricane, spreading in all directions. Bang. Whitebeard's eyes condensed, a breath that was not as good as Shanks exploded, and even a stronger one, directly suppressing Shanks's breath. Excuse me. Shanks recovered calmly and said with a smile. Although I knew you would give Ye Chen a big comment, I didn't expect it to be so big. Whitebeard's evaluation can no longer be described as expansion. Roger is already the One Piece. But Whitebeard said that Ye Chen will surpass Roger, will change the structure of the world, and even cause changes. This made Shanks unable to calm down, and Conqueror's Haki broke out subconsciously. The rise of Ye Chen can no longer be resisted. Shanks said lightly, but it is too early to say that he can surpass Captain Roger. Whether it can be as you said, we still need to wait for the future to know. Besides, the ancient weapon Pluto touches people's hearts. It is not easy for Ye Chen to get this item. Charlotte Linlin has sent someone to Alabasta to investigate. If the news is true, it is estimated that she will go there in person. In addition, the forces in the sea have also started to take action one after another, such as the world government. If Pluto doesn't exist, it's okay to say, if Pluto really exists, Ye Chen may not be able to keep Pluto. If Pluto really exists, that is bound to cause fierce snatching. Although Ye Chen is the emperor of the sea, if you want to keep the Pluto, the other forces will not agree, at least the world government will not agree. The same is true for Charlotte Linlin, also the emperor of the sea. Whether it is true, it will be clear in the future. Whitebeard said faintly, the crazy lady Charlotte Linlin has already participated, don't you have the slightest interest? Whitebeard are not the same for you. Shanks smiled. It's too late now. It will take at least a month to get from New World to Alabasta. When they pass, Pluto is probably gone. The real fight is probably world government. Both with Ye Chen. Distance is an issue after all. The reason why Ye Chen can get to Alabasta in a few days depends on Galio, but the others don't. The person who can defeat Kaido is not a simple thing. Whitebeard said faintly, even if they pass by, they will only act as cannon fodder, and they will not have any effect at all to fight for the Pluto. It is whimsical. Shanks didn't talk, but his inner thoughts were not much different from Whitebeard's. The rest are fighting. It's really naive. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Something is whimsical. Even if someone else gets this kind of thing, it can't be kept at all. The reputation of the three ancient weapons has been circulated. No one will be heartbroken. And as the most powerful force at present, the world government cannot sit back and watch. He would rather destroy Pluto than fall into the hands of others. Leave aside Ye Chen's business for now. Shanks shook his head. Since this guy only appeared, the entire sea has never been calm. Whitebeard also nodded in agreement. Indeed, only after Ye Chen appeared. Every once in a while, there will be a shocking news. Only repelled 3 admirals some time ago. Kaido was already defeated later. Not long after, Pluto had already got it. Shanks couldn't understand the style of this guy. It's weird. Whitebeard, I am here today. Besides Ye Chen, there is one more thing. Speaking of this, Shanks touched the scar on his face. Although this scar has passed for many years, it still has a faint pain all the time. And the man who gave me this scar is a crew member from your previous boat, Teach. The voice fell off. Whitebeard's face changed, and a horrible breath gushed out of him, moving in all directions. Red-haired kid, your hands are a little longer. This is an internal matter of our Whitebeard. Bang. Shanks wasn't afraid at all, and a breath no weaker than Whitebeard exploded. The two terrifying auras collided together, rolling up layers of huge waves. Above the sky, the situation is changing, and the dark clouds are pressing down. As if the end had come. The breath of the top power is enough to affect the surrounding environment. I didn't intend to govern your internal affairs. Shanks said in a deep voice. I'm just telling you, don't let Ace die. Although his strength is not bad, he is considered a good player in New World, but Teach has hidden for 20 years, and his strength is not as simple as you think. Single quote. This guy's strength may not be weaker than Marco and the others, it may even be stronger. If you insist on letting Ace pass, it will only cost him to death. Let Ace come back. Shanks knows that Teach is powerful, and if Ace insists on hunting down Teach, it will only kill him. Teach was so strong back then. After so many years, one more devil fruit has been added. The strength of Teach has reached the point where no one knows. But at least one thing Shanks knew. That is, Ace is far from an opponent. Humph. Whitebeard snorted coldly, and directly pulled up Kong Yunchi who was beside him and slashed towards Shanks. Shanks backed away, pulling out the weapon from his waist. Click. The two weapons collided, bursting out unbelievable energy. The wind was howling, and the waves were surging into the sky. Suddenly, the originally calm sea area has become extremely dangerous. The other side, under the leadership of Princess Vivi. Ye Chen and Robin came to their destination. Also saw the final historical text. A huge black stone stands in the secret room, and countless large characters are engraved on the wide stone slab. That is the history recorded in the text of history. It is also Ye Chen's goal this time. Chapter 93. The historical text is found. Princess Vivi, you can also leave. After finding the historical text, Ye Chen gave Princess Vivi an order to chase away her guests. Although this place belongs to Princess Vivi, it is good. Princess Vivi hesitated for a moment, and finally nodded and left. Watching Princess Vivi leave, Ye Chen looked at Robin and said faintly, decipher this historical text, I want to know where Pluto is. Hear the words. Robin nodded, opened Shikai to read the historical text in front of him, and said, this historical text records some history from 100 years ago. It records that there was an earth-shattering war, and the power of Pluto, who was in control, was finally defeated. After those people were defeated, they hid Pluto in a place, waiting for their descendants to find this historical text, and then after find Pluto. Sure enough, this historical text in the original book records the whereabouts of Pluto. Robin probably didn't tell Crocodile at the time. Found the whereabouts of Pluto. My sign in task can be completed. And I hope that Pluto hasn't been damaged after so many years. As one of the ancient weapons, Pluto is still extremely powerful. If he can have Pluto, it is also an improvement for them. And fighting on the sea. The role of Pluto is not weaker than that of an admiral, or even a sea emperor. Pluto is there. Ye Chen said. I just want to know if Pluto is in Alabasta. Robin replied. According to the above record, Pluto is in Alabasta, and near Albana, it seems to be in a hidden canyon. Single quote. Speaking of which, Robin hesitated for a while and whispered, Master Ye Chen, I want to know that you found Pluto, what do you want to use it for? The role of Pluto is beyond doubt. It is a very terrifying weapon, if it is not used properly, it can even cause a big disaster. For this, Robin hesitated. In the original book, she was afraid that Crocodile would kill the innocent indiscriminately when he got the Pluto. In addition, I met Luffy and they felt that Luffy and the others were very kind in heart, so they chose to betray Crocodile. Of course, in addition, Robin can also see that as long as she finds Pluto, Crocodile will not keep her. Helping Luffy and them, most of them still want to save themselves. That's why it is strong first. But after the appearance of Ye Chen, there is no such disaster. So Robin wouldn't do that, because it felt it, Ye Chen didn't have the intention of killing him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Do what? Ye Chen smiled and said, you asked me. Single quote. Do you think a sea emperor possesses such a weapon, what will he do? Rule the world. Robin hesitated and said, as for Ye Chen and others, Robin has not yet contacted them. Especially people of Ye Chen's level. In her impression, this type of character basically wants to rule the world. You reminded me of this. Ye Chen touched his chin and said lightly, with Pluto, we can indeed strengthen the strength of our pirate group. There is no disadvantage or even an advantage in the naval battle even when facing the world government. But I can tell you that when I first wanted to find Pluto, I didn't get it, but for other reasons. As for the reason, I can't tell you for the time being. Of course, if Pluto is still intact, I don't mind accepting Pluto, but after so many years, hundreds of years, any sophisticated ship, it is estimated that it has been damaged. Indeed, 800 years. No matter how good ships, even those marine warships, as long as they are left for decades, they will basically be rusty and useless. And Pluto has been stored for 800 years. Basically they are scrapped. I guess it would be of little use if I found it, at most I got a wreck. But it's not really useless. With these wrecks, it may not be impossible to replicate a Pluto. It's just that the power may not be as powerful as the previous Pluto. Master Ye Chen, do you want to overthrow the world government? Robin seemed to have heard other meanings and looked at Ye Chen deeply. This man, although he talked and laughed lightly. But she can feel it. This man has extremely terrifying ambitions. 0 Find flowers 0. The world government has existed for too long, it has been 800 years, and it is almost over. Ye Chen smiled slightly and said, there are actually many people who want to overthrow the world government. There are many people in this world, but the world government is still a behemoth. It is not easy to overthrow it. What's more, your idea is similar to mine. You must overthrow the world government, so as to avenge the O'Hara incident that year. Ye Chen knows about O'Hara. Robin is not surprised. Although this matter has been a long time ago, with Ye Chen's status, if he really wanted to check it, he would have found it a long time ago. And when he first got in touch, Robin discovered that Ye Chen was very familiar with her. 0. Obviously investigated her. What you said is not wrong. Robin smiled bitterly and said, I do want to overthrow the world government, but I also know that with my personal ability, it's obviously impossible to do it. Single quote. You are not alone now. Ye Chen reminded. You are now a member of the Black Crow Pirates, the entire Black Crow Pirates are your companions, and we will all be your help. Single quote. Of course you can choose not to. Heard these words. Robin was a little stunned. She had never thought that Ye Chen could invite him into the Black Crow Pirates. After all, her strength is not that strong. Compared with the rest of the Black Crow Pirates group, the difference is huge. After a long time, Robin smiled at the corner of his mouth and said, thank you, Captain Ye Chen. Single quote. The implication. She joined. You are welcome. Ye Chen said faintly. Let's go out and find Pluto, this thing is still very important to me, and Princess Vivi shouldn't go far yet, and he needs to lead the way. Single quote. Okay. Robin nodded. Then, the three left together. Princess Vivi just walked out of the sacrificial ceremony hall, and before she got over, Ye Chen suddenly appeared and said, Princess Vivi, please lead the way again. Okay, Lord Ye Chen. Seeing the three of them suddenly appeared, Princess Vivi's face was a little stiff. Although very reluctant, but it can only do so. Force. Chapter 94. Master Ye Chen, where are you going this time? Walking down the street, Princess Vivi asked Ye Chen. After leading the way before, she was quite proficient. Is there anything like a canyon nearby? Ye Chen asked. He is also not familiar with Alabasta, although he can be found in the air, but it will take some time. But with Princess Vivi, Ye Chen didn't bother to run up and search by himself. Someone here. Just ask for directions directly. Is this not fragrant? Why look for it alone? Although there are deserts around Albana, there are still some oases. Princess Vivi said. If I remember correctly, there are about 3 canyons, 2 of them are canyons with oasis, and one of them has existed for a long time, but because there is no oasis, plus it is a desert, no one enters one. Go to 70. Because it hasn't rained in the past few years. The valleys with water sources have been hollowed out. Basically, they have been found. But it is the last valley. Because it is extremely dangerous, there are people who get lost all the year round, but no one has passed by. I don't know. Which canyon are you looking for? When I heard Princess Vivi talk about the 3rd canyon. Ye Chen and Robin smiled at each other. It should be this gorge. Since it is a restricted area of life, no one has noticed it, so no one knows that Pluto is in it. But the other 2 canyons, because there are resources, often people pass by, if Pluto is there. It is estimated to have been discovered long ago. Just go to the last canyon. Talking. Ye Chen greeted Galio. Upon seeing this, Galio's figure gradually grew larger. It quickly became extremely huge, with a back that could hold more than a dozen people, and the huge figure almost burst the entire square. Go up. Ye Chen took Princess Vivi and Robin up. Galio spread his wings, like a stream of light running through the sky, disappearing in front of everyone. The people around were shocked by this scene. As if seeing something incredible, his face was surprised. It didn't take long. Galio came to the front of a canyon. Below, it is full of loess at a glance, and the towering rock walls are vertical and horizontal, forming a very strange shape. In the canyon, there is no life, only patches of yellow sand, not even cacti. Here is it. Princess Vivi pointed to the valley below and said, a year ago, our kingdom was really short of water resources. In order to find water resources, a team was sent to explore here, hoping to find water resources, but the latter team disappeared. None of them came back. In fact, not only this team, in the history of Alabasta for many years, many people have come into this place, but no one can come out, and finally this canyon is called Death Canyon. Basically, I don't want to die, I won't come to this place. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Heard these words, Ye Chen's eyes flickered, and a burst of Reiatsu burst out all over his body. Is there a storm around him, striding in all directions? A pure spiritual force covered the entire canyon, penetrating the layers of rock walls, and probing everything in front of him. This is a special ability that Ye Chen created under the combination of Kaido and observation Haki. Possesses the ability to penetrate objects and can detect the surrounding scenes. Seeing that Ye Chen didn't speak, Princess Vivi and Robin were not talking, and they were waiting. After a long time, a smile appeared on the corner of Ye Chen's mouth and said, found it. Gario go down. Hear the words. Galio fell downward, finally hovering on a rock wall. Looking at the towering rock wall in front of him, Ye Chen pulled out Ryūjin Jakka from his hand and slashed across the wall with a sword. Bang! A sword aura rose from the ground, running through the entire rock wall with a terrifying posture. The entire cliff was shaking violently, countless boulders continued to fall, and a series of earth-shaking sounds sounded. Bang! A deafening sound sounded, the entire cliff exploded directly, the rocks rolled down, and the smoke billowed. After a long time, the smoke dissipated, and a huge hole appeared in front of everyone. Under the sunlight, the scene inside gradually emerged. Inside the cliff is empty. There is a cave inside. Go in. Galio heard the sound and shot inward. The hole is so big that it can accommodate Galio in. It took a few seconds to pass through the dark passage where he could not see his fingers. A dazzling light burst out from a distance 0. Galio suddenly passed through the dark passage to a brand new place. Inside is an extremely large cave, and it is completely different from the outside world, with a lot of water resources. And there is a small hole in the sky, although it is not big, but it can let the sun shine down. And on the small lake below, there is a boat moored. A huge dark ship appeared in front of them, and the dark hull shone with the light of metal, like a forged metal. This ship is astonishingly large, 10 times as large as an ordinary ship. Even the heavyweight ships of the marine warship look tiny in front of him. Especially the thick barrel is shocking. No one knows how amazing the shells fired by this barrel are. There is no doubt. The ship searched for based on historical texts is Pluto. And after hundreds of years, Pluto is a bit crude, but it hasn't reached an extremely unbearable level. Pluto. Looking at the ship below, Robin's eyes widened slightly, and he whispered. Simultaneously, Princess Vivi's face was also full of amazement. Pluto actually exists, and it was even near their royal capital. Although she has heard such rumors, she has never believed it very much. Until now, Pluto has personally placed in front of her. Gario go down. Looking at the Pluto below, Ye Chen was a little happy. Now his sign in task can be completed. I just don't know what the reward is. And Pluto seems to be usable. With Pluto as the pirate ship, the strength of their pirate group is greatly improved. Bang! Everyone fell on the deck, making a muffled noise. The entire ship is forged from metal, and this kind of craft is not necessarily available now. Footsteps landed. Almost an instant of time. A cold voice sounded. Ding! Congratulations to host for signing in successfully. Ding! Congratulations to host for successfully summoning Ulquiorra. Hear this voice. Ye Chen's eyes were overjoyed. This is double happiness. Don't say if you find Pluto. He even summoned Xiaowu. As a well-known villain among Shinigami, Ulquiorra's strength does not need to be questioned. Putting it in the pirate world is definitely an extremely terrifying combat power. Chapter 95. Double happiness is coming. This sentence is not excessive. Ulquiorra's strength does not need to be questioned. Starting with his strength at least at the admiral level, it may not be impossible even to compete against the Sea Emperor. Whether it is Sero, still back to the edge, even Duan Gui edge. Ulquiorra can burst out extremely terrifying ability, coupled with the terrifying regeneration ability of high-speed regeneration. Among the Sea Emperors, Ye Chen thinks that he has no chance of defeating Ulquiorra. System, summon Ulquiorra outside, let him come down from above. Ye Chen said silently in his heart. It is obviously not appropriate to summon Ulquiorra directly here. After all, Princess Vivi and Robin are here. Master Ye Chen, this should be Pluto. Robin surveyed the surroundings and exclaimed. 800 years have passed, and Pluto has not been damaged by the passage of time. 800 years. Enough to destroy most things in the world. Don't talk about a ship. In this era, a ship has been stored for 100 years, and it is estimated that it is no longer usable, and its appearance is probably covered with rusty Madara. Pluto did not. Although it is covered with dust, if you wipe the dust off, you can still see the bright and clean as new. There are hardly any major changes in 09. 800 years of time did not break him. Instead, it looks like new, unimaginable material. This material is not available in this era. Robin said. I don't know what material it is, I think this material can be a match for seastone. Seastone. The treasure of the sea, an extremely rare ore. In addition to the ability to possess the sea, it is also the most rigid. It is incomparable to other ores. And now, Pluto at Robin's feet seems to be on a par with seastone. After all, 800 years have passed. The entire ship is not damaged, but looks very new, which already explains the problem. Master Ye Chen, someone is coming. Suddenly, Galio seemed to perceive something and said to Ye Chen. Someone. Robin and Princess Vivi woke up suddenly. Basically no one will come to this place. Who will come? But are they worried? Ye Chen and Galio are here. They are not very worried about whoever comes. Because the two in front of you are already the apex of this world. Do not worry, Ye Chen said faintly. This is our companion. My arrival has awakened him. He should be coming towards me now. Single quote. Wake up, companion. Could it be that Ye Chen came here, not looking for Pluto himself? Instead of looking for companions. But how does he know that his companion is on Pluto's side? Robin thought secretly in his heart. Just now, Just now. Click. The space slowly cracked open, revealing a dark hole, and a white figure slowly walked out of it. Wearing a white-faced and black-bottomed high-necked long-sleeved jacket with black edges, a short black hair, pale complexion and green eyes, with dark green lines resembling tears, and a mask on his head. Horned helmet shape. As soon as he appeared, the surrounding atmosphere became solidified. Full of depression. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It made Robin and Princess Vivi almost breathless. In front of everyone, Ulquiorra half-kneeled in front of Ye Chen. Master Ye Chen. Get up. Ye Chen looked at Ulquiorra with joy in his eyes. It was indeed an accident to be able to summon Ulquiorra. Subsequently, Ye Chen said to the others, Ulquiorra, our companion, it's just that he was asleep before, but he's now awake. Single quote. Hear the words. Galio smiled honestly and said to Ulquiorra, Gario. Nico Robin. Robin nodded and said, watching both of them are introducing. Princess Vivi was a little embarrassed. These people, they are all in the same class, but she is not. She is just a lead. And she saw Pluto. Such confidential information. Obviously, it cannot be known to outsiders. If you know. Basically it is killing people. Thinking of this, Princess Vivi's scalp was numb, and she was a little apprehensive. This is Princess Vivi, Ye Chen said faintly. You treat as someone who has nothing to do with us. Really, he wants to kill me. Heard this sentence. Princess Vivi panicked even more. People who have nothing to do with it almost mean that Ye Chen has murderous intentions. Hear the words. Ulquiorra nodded to Princess Vivi, but didn't say anything. Robin, go with Galio to see if there is any way to start Pluto. Ye Chen said lightly, we are ready to leave this place. Single quote. Pluto has been found. The sign in task is also completed. It's almost time for them to leave. Hear the words. Robin nodded and followed Galio, who was in an ordinary state. Pluto is very big. There is a huge space. It is basically impossible to explore the entire Pluto at a time. It still takes some time. The other side. Ye Chen looked at Princess Vivi next to him, and said with a smile, you have read everything, what should I do with you? He really wanted to kill me. Princess Vivi was so frightened that her face was pale, and she burst into cold sweat, and said, Master Ye Chen, don't kill me. You promised me before, as long as I show you the way, you won't kill me. I did say that, but that was when I went to the worship hall. I did let you go at that time. It was another time to come here. Didn't I remember that I confessed that I would let you go? Ye Chen said lightly. Heard these words. Princess Vivi was speechless for a while before she remembered. When I come again. Ye Chen really did not guarantee. Suddenly, Princess Vivi was desperate. In such a place, if she is killed by a murderer, and she throws her body in this place, it is estimated that no one will know. And, it's useless to know. Alabasta can't even solve Crocodile, and it is impossible for Ye Chen to be dozens of times stronger than Crocodile. Seeing Princess Vivi's face turned pale and almost collapsed, tears began to flow in her eyes. Ye Chen felt amused. As he continued to tease, he was probably about to collapse and cry. Forget it, I won't tease you, I will send you back later. Single quote. Even if you know that Pluto is in my hands, it doesn't matter much. It is estimated that now, the whole sea has spread the news that I am looking for Pluto. How did they know? Princess Vivi was a little surprised, she only found out when she found Pluto. How do people from outside know that Ye Chen is looking for Pluto? But, Princess Vivi was relieved to hear that Ye Chen would not kill her. After a long time, Robin and Galio seem to have found a book similar to instructions that will enable them to open Pluto. This manual was left by the person who placed it here that year. It records some special matters that Pluto needs, and at the same time tells them some of the functions of Pluto. As one of the ancient weapons, Pluto possesses the capabilities of all ships, but also possesses capabilities that other ships do not. That is to fly. Pluto can fly in the air based on special energy. This is a very special ability, and it is also very useful. Simultaneously, Pluto also stores a lot of energy. Although this energy has passed through hundreds of years, it seems to be still usable. After adding energy, in the captain's room of Hades, Ye Chen made all preparations, controlled Pluto, looked ahead, and said loudly, pay attention, you are about to take off. Single quote. The voice fell off. Ye Chen pressed a button. Suddenly, violent noises rang around, as if some wild beast had awakened. A violent voice cut around. Simultaneously, there were countless rays of light on Pluto, as if a behemoth had awakened. Bang! A dull, behind the Pluto, a huge pipe appeared, bursting out an extremely terrifying shock wave. Under this shock wave, Pluto flew straight out and rushed out of the cave. Hovering in the sky, appeared high above Albana. See the giant in the sky. Everyone was shocked and shocked. It was the first time they saw such a huge ship, and it was flying in the air. Chapter 96. What it is. It looks like a ship. A ship can fly in the air. But it really seems to be a ship, but what kind of ship is this? Why can a ship fly in the air? Who knows this? Looking at the behemoth in the sky, the dark Pluto straddled the sky, and the people below stared wide-eyed and their faces were full of horror. They have seen many ships. But this is the first time they have seen a ship like Pluto. So huge, and still flying in the air. This is still a ship. When can the ship only fly in the air? Everyone doubted, and their minds were almost full of question marks. If it weren't for seeing it with your own eyes, it's really hard for them to believe that there are ships that can only fly in the air. The Golden Lion of the Year could indeed do it, but the Golden Lion has been missing for so many years, and the ship flying high in the sky has long been a legend. Has Hades been captured by Ye Chen? The cadres of the Baroque studio have not left Albana yet. When they saw the Pluto in the sky, they were shocked. They came to Alabasta to plan Pluto, but a few years later, they did not find a trace. I didn't expect Ye Chen to come too. After killing Crocodile, he actually found Pluto. And it seems to be near Albana. Thought of this. The hearts of the people were extremely disturbed. The thing I was looking for was right in front of my eyes. At the same time, in a room inside Hades, when Princess Vivi and Robin saw the scene outside, their beautiful eyes showed a touch of color, and their hearts were extremely unstable. Pluto can actually fly. In this era, even the world government has not studied this kind of technology, but it already existed 800 years ago. No wonder Pluto will become the three ancient weapons. Robin sighed and said, with this ability, this ship should have gathered all the wisdom of that era. Pluto's other abilities will not be discussed for the time being. The ability to fly alone is enough to prove that Pluto is extraordinary. Just now, the voice of the phone worm rang. Ye Chen took out a phone worm and directly connected. Quickly, Doflamingo's voice came from the phone worm and said, Master Ye Chen, there was a message just before that you were looking for Pluto in Alabasta. The news came out and has attracted many people to Alabasta. It is estimated that it will not take long, and the whole of Alabasta will become the center of the world. The news spread so quickly. A gleam of light flashed in Ye Chen's eyes. He had guessed that the news would come out, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. But this is also good. You can try the power of Pluto. Has the Emperor of the Sea sent someone over? Yes, Charlotte Linlin sent a cadre over. Whitebeard and Shanks didn't have much movement, and they didn't seem to be very interested. But these two people did not send anyone over, but many famous forces in New World have already been dispatched. They may not be as good as us, but they are also a strength that cannot be underestimated. Lord Ye Chen must be careful, and Marine is bound to there are also Admiral-level combat power rushed past. Doflamingo replied. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The news of Pluto came out. Suddenly attracted the attention of the whole world. Many forces are now rushing towards Alabasta. After all, the temptation of Pluto is still too great. Enough to make people crazy. Perhaps because of word of mouth for many years, the prestige of ancient weapons has been raised to an extremely terrifying level. The major forces will gather in Alabasta. Upon hearing these words, Princess Vivi's face suddenly turned pale. One crocodile has already turned Alabasta upside down, and if there are 10 more, even Crocodile. Wouldn't it have wiped out Alabasta? And very likely. After all, this kind of high-end combat is extremely terrifying. Although it will not destroy Alabasta, it will definitely destroy Alabasta, which is not good at all. I know. Having said that, Ye Chen turned around and said in a cold voice, if you spread the news, I will say that I have found Pluto. If anyone wants to, they can come to Banner Town, Alabasta. Tell them, as long as they have their lives to take, then come. I am waiting for them there. Master Ye Chen actually got Pluto. Doflamingo was a little surprised. In fact, he didn't take this news seriously. After all, Pluto had disappeared for so long. It is so easy to get there. It's just that he never thought that this news turned out to be true, and Ye Chen also got Pluto. Ye Chen is indeed an immortal. At the same time, because of this news, Doflamingo further confirmed that Ye Chen is immortal. After all, within such a short time, Pluto can be found. Except that he knew where Pluto was placed, he basically didn't know how Ye Chen got it. But if you want to know where Pluto is, it can only be an immortal. As for the immortals of that era, Doflamingo is not sure. Master Ye Chen, did you really find Pluto? Okay. Does that require us to pass? A lot of forces have passed this time. Although there is no Sea Emperor, some guys are still very difficult to deal with. Should we also pass by? Single quote. No need. Ye Chen said lightly. We are the only one to deal with these wastes. Single quote. And if you leave, those guys won't settle down. Ye Chen is talking about the remaining Sea Emperors. If Doflamingo and Acedes are not in New World, it is difficult to guarantee that the rest of the Sea Emperors have raised some thoughts, especially when the Black Crow pirate group has been extremely expanded during this period, which has offended many people. I see, Lord Ye Chen. Doflamingo respectfully said. I'll spread the news now. But Ye Chen, you have to be careful. Single quote. Okay. After speaking, Ye Chen hung up the phone worm. Master Ye Chen, can you move the battlefield out of Alabasta? Princess Vivi said anxiously. Backquote, if the battlefield is in Alabasta, the entire Alabasta will be destroyed as a result. Now Alabasta cannot afford the attention of the world. If you want to move out of the battlefield and move out of Alabasta, it's not impossible. Having said that, Ye Chen looked at Princess Vivi carefully and said with a smile, it's just that you want to tell me, why? Single quote. Or what price do you have to pay? This world has always needed to pay for it to be rewarded. Princess Vivi was silent. Yup. Why did he let Ye Chen move the battlefield out of Alabasta? Did they have any relationship? No relatives and no reason. Although she is a princess, this thing is no different from ordinary people when facing Ye Chen. After a moment of silence, Princess Vivi whispered, as long as you can move the battlefield out of Alabasta, you can ask me to do anything, no matter what. She really couldn't find anything for Ye Chen to agree. Are you sure it really is anything? Ye Chen pinched Princess Vivi's chin and smiled playfully. If you really agree, your body, including everything about you, doesn't belong to you, do you understand? I understand, I agreed. Princess Vivi said stubbornly. Good for Zhao, how can she not understand these things? It's just that she can't help it. You, the princess, don't seem to be very good. I don't even know the geographical location of your country. Banner Town is a town by the sea. Even if fighting breaks out there, it will only break out at sea, not at all. Even if the war is fierce in Alabasta, Banner Town will be destroyed at best. Ye Chen said lightly. If you don't want the people in Banner Town to die, order the people in Banner Town to move out of town now. Hearing these words double, Princess Vivi's cheeks were flushed and a little embarrassed. She really didn't know the location of Banner Town. But when she heard these words, she also felt relieved. At least Ye Chen has already thought about it for her. Remember what you said before. Ye Chen said faintly. If you dare to go back, it will cost you to consider yourself. I see. Princess Vivi said in a deep voice, since I promised Master Ye Chen, everything I belong to Master Ye Chen. Upon seeing this, Ye Chen touched Princess Vivi's blue long hair, lowered his head to her eyes, a fragrance came, and said softly, you will be grateful for your choice today. Chapter 97. The prestige of the royal family of Alabasta has been extremely diminished in the past few years. Especially under Crocodile's deliberate trouble, the royal prestige of Alabasta has dropped to an extremely outrageous level. It can even be said that there is no more, because there is no water resources, in such a desert environment, many people start to turn back. There were rebels on this. Even at this time the rebels had an extremely terrifying scale. With the Imperial clan losing its prestige, it is obviously impossible for the Imperial clan to evacuate everyone in Banner Town. But that was just before. With Ye Chen's help, none of this is a matter. Galio and Ulquiorra's shots only took a few days, and all the rebels were wiped out. The royal prestige of Alabasta has increased extremely. It is not so much that the prestige of the royal family has increased, but the prestige of Ye Chen has been established. Let the others fear it. Due to this reason, all urban residents in Banner Town were evacuated. And they also received news from the outside that Banner Town will become a battlefield. If they were still here, when everyone started fighting, they would be very dangerous. Due to this reason, let many people run away. Simultaneously, under the operation of Doflamingo, Ye Chen's meaning was conveyed to all parts of the world. After hearing that Ye Chen had already got Hades, he was waiting for them in Banner Town. Everyone was a little surprised at first, and then calmed down. It is normal for Ye Chen to do this. People who are so confident as he are really not afraid of people like them taking action. Not to mention, Ye Chen is even more unafraid before the Sea Emperor has appeared. At the same time everyone was a little excited. Pluto appeared, this really appeared. If they can get the Pluto, won't they also become the Emperor of the Sea? Or even become the One Piece, or conquer the world? This guy actually found Pluto. Whitebeard glanced at the intelligence, then threw it aside and took a sip of wine, but this style is really like him, and it is estimated that many people will die because of it. Father, do we want to join? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Marco said from the side. He is still very interested in Pluto. After all, it was one of the 3 ancient weapons, and he had heard the legend of Hades since he was a child. Don't go, Whitebeard said faintly. This thing has been taken by Ye Chen. It must be very difficult to snatch it from him, and even if you get this thing, it is still a hot potato. From the world government side, I'm sure to find trouble all the time. Single quote. Although we are not very afraid of the world government, there is no need to involve too much with the world government. Moreover, even if we pass, we may not be able to take the Hades from Ye Chen. This guy can invite people from all over the world with such confidence, naturally he has his own confidence. People who rush to the past will probably only die, and they will be used to achieve Ye Chen's prestige. Single quote. Whitebeard saw it clearly. Had it not been for Ye Chen's absolute certainty, he would not declare war here, attracting the attention of people all over the world. Although he doesn't know where Ye Chen's confidence is, he may also be extremely confident. But Whitebeard always feels that this guy is not that simple. It is estimated that he wants to use Pluto to enhance his majesty. Not to mention, as one of the 3 ancient weapons, the power of Pluto, they didn't know what it was. If it is really powerful, it will be really troublesome. How many people passed by? All to die, not to mention. Ye Chen itself is not weak, it must be very difficult to snatch Pluto from his hands. It's not just Whitebeard. Shanks had the same plan. When he heard that Pluto appeared, he was just surprised, but he didn't do much. Because he knew, even if he rushed past, it is also useless. It's no big use. But the mother's side, it has already begun to act. Auntie is still very interested in Pluto. As for Kaido, he is still recovering from his injuries. Although he is very interested, she dare not come out. In the vast sea, a marine warship is like a giant, sailing on the sea. On the deck of a warship, Aokiji lay on the chair, took a lazy breath, rubbed his eyes, and said to Garp who was standing next to him, "Senior Garp, what should we do now? Pluto is really in the hands of Ye Chen. It's not a simple matter that we want to snatch it from him. At least it's impossible for the two of us. How many people are applying for Marshal Sengoku and I? Originally, they came here to investigate the news. Who knows that Ye Chen got Pluto before it arrived? But relying on the two of them, they wanted to take the Pluto from Ye Chen's hands. That was basically whimsical. Ha ha ha, this is really a bit troublesome." Garp laughed and said, "Only the two of us really can't do it, but Sengoku just told me that the mission continues. Let us watch the battle. If there is a chance to seize it, then seize it. If there is no chance, then, never mind. Let the rest of the forces give it a try. And the world government seems to be discussing this matter. Let's wait for the above news." Hearing these words, Aokiji clasped his head with his hands, and said lightly, "Now it seems that I can only do what I can do. This Ye Chen is really, every time there is a big news, I don't know how to be safe. A bit." There were some complaints in the tone. Because of the appearance of Ye Chen, there are often big news, so he doesn't have much time to rest. "I have to run around every day." Garp laughed and said nothing. "Thieves, ha ha ha, the king of Hades has appeared. We just happen to be short of a ship, so we can go and try it. It's okay to give it a try. It's just that the captain is the emperor of the sea. Do we really want to grasp it? How do you know if you don't try it? Although the emperor of the sea is strong, it is not invincible." Hear the words. The man could only nod helplessly, their captain said so, and they could only do so. Simultaneously, the other side, in a small town, a man with an orange cowboy hat looked at the intelligence in his hand and said in his heart, "With Teach's character, he may not go to that place." Thinking about it, Ace returned the same way and headed to Alabasta. The appearance of the butterfly Ye Chen started to deviate from the plot line. Originally, both Ace and Blackbeard could not go to Alabasta at this time, but now they both go one by one. Chapter 98. Time is long. Half a month passed. The town of Banner, which was originally lively and densely populated, has also become uninhabited at this time, with little left. And on the pier in Banner Town, there is a huge battleship moored, completely dark, as if forged from some unknown metal. Stopped there like a wild beast, exuding a frightening atmosphere. And on the sea, listening to many ships, there are pirate regiments and marine warships. These ships are from the top forces in the world, and the weaker forces are afraid to come over. Because they know that they have no chance to compete. Marine has a lot of people here, and Garp and Kuzan lead the way. A Marine Admiral and Garp are the Marine heroes. It seems that Marine values Pluto very much, and the two top combat powers have been sent over. On a pirate ship, a burly man said in a deep voice. It comes from New World, a famous pirate group in New World, and he himself is the captain. Crow the Beast. The bounty amount reached 800 million. In New World, he is also a famous big thief. However, in this place, there are not a few existences like him, and even some have exceeded 100 million Baileys. And beside him, there was a pirate ship close by, and a slender middle-aged man stood inside. When he heard what Crow said, he sneered and said, "Who is not the Pluto? Who doesn't value it?" Besides, Aokiji and Garp are only on the surface. It's unclear whether there are other top combat powers secretly. Also, Charlotte Linlin is coming here too. This one is not easy to provoke. Once she arrives, it's basically time for the war to break out. Although Ye Chen is powerful, he may not be able to keep Pluto. The reason why everyone is not erupting now, but they are all waiting for someone to make a bird. And they broke out in one fell swoop. Originally, they thought that Marine had arrived, and these guys would be the first bird. Who knew that Marine just ignored it and seemed to be waiting just like them? In fact, they also want to do it, but they know that they are a few kilograms, and it is okay to fish in troubled waters. If they face Ye Chen and the others, they are still a little lacking. Even, maybe Ye Chen and the others will kill every one of them. Because they knew this, they didn't do anything secretly. Are waiting. And Charlotte Linlin is undoubtedly a good choice. As a veteran Sea Emperor, Charlotte Linlin's strength is beyond doubt. If she arrives, she will inevitably compete with Ye Chen. Then they can fish in troubled waters, or use Charlotte Linlin to deal with Ye Chen and the others. Ye Chen, although they are strong. But if you want to suppress everyone here, it seems to be nothing more than watching. Not to mention their combat power, Charlotte Linlin, Garp. These two have the strength of a Sea Emperor. Ye Chen only has the strength of Ye Chen, the Emperor of the Sea. What do they fight for? Although Galio is strong, there is still a gap between him and the Sea Emperor. Not to mention, Aokiji was also there, enough to involve Galio. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As long as Ye Chen's people are involved, people like them can do it. To be honest, these people were all chaotic on the battlefield. Ye Chen's fighting power was involved, and then he began to take Pluto. The idea is good, but you have to do it. That would be very difficult. There is a mixture of fish and dragons, and the mixture comes from almost dozens of top forces in the world. If you want to capture the Pluto among this group of people, it's easier said than done. And it's impossible for Marine and Charlotte Linlin to let them do it. I don't think so. Crow frowned and said in a deep voice. Since Ye Chen has the confidence to let people from all over the world fight, he must have his own confidence, saying that the rest of the Black Crow pirates may not be here. Single quote. What's more, people like us don't know how powerful Pluto is. Compared with the confidence of the guy next to him. Crow is more sensible, because he felt too weird. Although Ye Chen is extremely powerful, he still seems to be a little worse if he wants to challenge the world. But Ye Chen did so. What exactly is this for? Although he also knows that Ye Chen is very confident and has the frivolousness of a young man, he has reached the culmination of a pirate at a young age. But the more so, the more weird he felt. Because Ye Chen can walk to this place at such a young age, is it really just arrogance as those people say? Humph. The man snorted coldly and said, even if Pluto is powerful, it is impossible to kill all of us present. Even if the cadres of the Black Crow pirate group are here, they will not be able to fight everyone present. The level and number of combat power are not the same. 0 Find flowers 0. What's more, Doflamingo and Seeds only appeared in New World yesterday. It is obviously impossible to get here in one day. Look, this time it is because of Ye Chen's arrogance. He thinks he has defeated Kaido. He thinks he has Pluto and he can fight against the whole world. No one would deny his strength, and it does not mean that he can compete with everyone. Crow was silent, because he also felt that what the other party said did make sense. And what the other party said can't be refuted. The comparison of the combat power of the two sides is indeed not comparable. Of course it may not be absolute. Because everyone present is pregnant with ghosts, it is obviously impossible for them to unite together. At the same time. On a pirate ship. Thief haha, how come it hasn't started yet? Blackbeard took a few of his men and sat on the deck watching everything in front of him. He had been here for several days. All are waiting for war here. It's just that he waited for several days, there was no fighting, and both sides were calm. What? Suddenly Blackbeard looked in one direction, and there was a very rudimentary boat with a figure sitting on it, wearing an orange cowboy hat. Ace. Almost at the same time. Ace seemed to notice Blackbeard's gaze and looked in Blackbeard's direction. After discovering Blackbeard, Ace's face sank and burned with anger. I finally found you, Teach. Single quote. And seeing Ace, Blackbeard grinned. Thief ha ha ha, I didn't expect Captain Ace to be here. The appearance of Ace really went beyond Blackbeard's expectations. After seeing Blackbeard, Ace stood up abruptly, as if preparing to attack. And at this time, a pirate ship in the distance came towards this side with a loud voice. Wow ha ha ha, it seems that I'm not late yet. Ye Chen, you can hand over Pluto now and go. The voice came out. Everyone was awakened one after another, looking at the direction of the voice. Charlotte Linlin is finally here. Just now, on the side of Pluto, a voice not weaker than Charlotte Linlin came out. Do you deserve it, Charlotte Linlin? Confrontation. Have not started. It's already full of gunpowder. Force. Chapter 99. Are you worthy? A flat voice sounded, and the surrounding atmosphere suddenly became weird. Everyone's eyes are a little weird. This should be the most insulted sentence since Charlotte Linlin became the Emperor of the Sea. After becoming the Emperor of the Sea, no matter where Charlotte Linlin went, he was respected by everyone, except celestial dragons. The others dare not look down on Charlotte Linlin. After all, the strength is there. If Charlotte Linlin is angered, the trouble will be big. Even on Marine's side. Ha ha ha, it is full of gunpowder from the beginning, these guys have not changed as expected, they are all arrogant guys. On the warship, Garp held his hands and laughed. It is normal for Ye Chen to say such things. Aokiji lay on the chair and said lightly, both are sea emperors, and their status is almost the same. When Charlotte Linlin came over, Ye Chen let Ye Chen out of the 7th and 7th kings. This is a bit too much. Ye Chen will not be included in the words. In the eyes, it is inevitable that Ye Chen will say such things. Single quote. As soon as he came over, let Ye Chen give up Pluto. This condescending attitude, no matter who you change, you probably cannot bear it. After all, clay figurines also have 3-point firearms. Besides, Ye Chen is already very proud. Simultaneously. Both sides are sea emperors. As far as status is concerned, both sides are the same, and no one is inferior to the other. Charlotte Linlin is still the same as before. This one dared to talk to Ye Chen like this, and asked Ye Chen to surrender Pluto as soon as he came over. This is really a bit too much, and it doesn't put Ye Chen in his eyes. So it's no wonder Ye Chen replied that he really wanted Ye Chen to surrender Pluto. I guess no one in this world deserves it. The same is true of Charlotte Linlin. This woman is a lunatic, no one pays attention to it. It is normal to be able to say this, and I don't know how many cadres Charlotte Linlin brought over this time. Kata Curry is inside, this time Ye Chen is going to be dangerous, he will eventually have to pay for his arrogance. Everyone talked a lot, some people were surprised by Charlotte Linlin's words. Some people are used to it. Because Charlotte Linlin is a famous lunatic. Not very concerned. However, the appearance of Charlotte Linlin also means that the war is about to start. Everyone tensed their whole bodies, intensively observing everything nearby. Wow, ha ha ha. In all these years, you are the first person who dares to speak to me like this. Above the sky, Charlotte Linlin was standing on a black cloud, holding a big knife, and a terrifying aura burst out of her body, like an invisible wave of air rushing out, suppressing all quarters and sweeping everything. Albuff's gun. Prestige. Charlotte Linlin held the big knife in his hand, which was more than 10 meters long, and was swung up by Charlotte Linlin's strange power. He rolled up a sharp whistling sound, and then slashed in the direction of Hades. This is a simple chopping, without any skill at all, but it brings out an extremely terrifying vacuum sword aura. A sword slashes over, with a terrifying wind pressure, enough to make 99% of the people on this sea. The pirate trembled. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. This is the strength of the Emperor of the Sea, the real monster-like power that reigns over this sea of people. The people she faced were not weaker than her, even more terrifying than her. The powerful sword spirit rose from the ground, reaching hundreds of meters long, and split directly from the sea surface, revealing a deep ravine. The sword aura is inexhaustible, and the terrifying aura has changed the color of many people present. This level of attack has surpassed them. And this is just a normal blow from Charlotte Linlin. Everyone was shocked by the unimaginable strength. This is the strength of the Sea Emperor. Even if they are strong enough, they can feel the terrifying gap. Just like this flirty attack, I want me to surrender Pluto. Charlotte Linlin, are you too arrogant? And with this kind of strength, I can't help but wonder if you have the strength of a Sea Emperor. Ye Chen's voice came out. Everyone changed their colors, and Ye Chen was also the Emperor of the Sea. Everything in the sun is ashes. Ryūjin Jakka. Ye Chen shikai instantly, and a pillar of fire rose up all around, piercing the sky and dashing all around. Broken. Ye Chen gave a low cry, and the Ryūjin Jakka in his hand waved away, and an unimaginable sword aura shot out. The body is larger than Charlotte Linlin's prestige, and at the same time the power is more powerful, with a hot sword aura, sweeping past, a stream of water vapor rising from the sea. As if to evaporate the sea surface. Bang. Two horrible sword auras collided together, like a volcano hitting the earth, erupting astonishing fluctuations. The sea was tumbling, and the turbulent waves continued. The waves that were hundreds of meters long rolled up frantically. Bang. A dull voice sounded. Ye Chen's sword aura instantly wiped out Charlotte Linlin's prestige. The trend was unabated, and the momentum was fierce, towards Charlotte Linlin 0. Able to split my prestige, you have indeed reached our level. Seeing Weo being cut off, Charlotte Linlin laughed without anger, and said loudly, it's just that, you still can't change your ending. Between words, Charlotte Linlin slashed out a sword aura, which was even more terrifying than before, directly hitting Ye Chen's sword aura. Bang. The deafening explosion sounded all around, and the terrifying hurricane swept in all directions, almost overturning some ships. A huge hole was exploded on the sea surface, and countless sea water rose above the sky, turning into rain and falling downward. Like a heavy rain, it kept falling below. The strength of the Sea Emperor is still too terrifying, just a simple collision, but it has already made it like this. Seeing the changing scenes around, everyone was secretly surprised. This kind of power seems to be different from them. Charlotte Linlin, you are not good. Ye Chen sneered. I doubt how you got your identity as the Emperor of the Sea. It takes 2 attacks to stop this kind of attack. Kaido was much stronger than you at the beginning, and you can stop it casually. Single quote. Boy with sharp teeth. Hearing Ye Chen's ridicule, saying that she was inferior to Kaido, Charlotte Linlin was furious, and horrible fluctuations spread from her. Suddenly, a violent wind rolled up, and the sky was overwhelmed by dark clouds, lightning and thunder, with a terrifying sense of oppression. My strength still needs to be questioned by a kid like you. Since you want to die, then I will fulfill you today. The voice fell. There was thunder in the surroundings, and countless electric snakes entangled in the sky. At the same time, many people seemed to have seen the opportunity, and they also said one after another. Ye Chen, how can the strength of Lord Charlotte Linlin be mocked? When she became the Emperor of the Sea, you were not born yet. Everyone joined forces to kill him, so that this guy understands that this sea is not the time when he can be the master. It's so arrogant, I can't help it. What about the Emperor of the Sea? Today we will punish the Emperor. With the outbreak of Charlotte Linlin, everyone seemed to have found an opportunity, and they also broke out one after another. Although they come from all major forces, but at this moment, the purpose is the same. That is to capture Pluto, and before capturing Pluto, the first thing to do is to get rid of Ye Chen. As long as Ye Chen is dealt with, the ownership of Pluto can be discussed later. Chapter 100. The war is about to start. When Ye Chen and Charlotte Linlin were preparing to do it, the rest of the waiting parties couldn't help it. Although they know Ye Chen is extremely powerful. But Pluto and the others still have to fight. As one of the 3 ancient weapons, Pluto has too many legends. One can bomb an island, and it can fly in the air. That's enough to make them tempted. If they can get Pluto, their overall strength will surely have a crazy improvement, and even becoming a new Sea Emperor is not impossible. Hundreds of thousands of Baileys are enough to drive a person crazy and slaughter a village. What's more, a treasure like Pluto. Although they know that the protagonist of this battlefield is not them, it does not mean that they have no chance to get Pluto. With so many powerful people gathered on the scene, once it breaks out, it will inevitably be a big melee, and it cannot be stopped by one or two sea emperors. Everyone has the opportunity, as long as they enter Pluto's captain's room, they all have the opportunity to drive Pluto to leave. Although there are not a few strong people at the sea emperor level present. Oh nine, but they come from various forces. It must be impossible to join hands. Due to this reason, everyone was moved, and they started to do it one after another. Powerhouses from more than 20 stocks from all over the world started in an instant. Yes, demon fruit power. There is a master of physical arts. There are also strong men who are proficient in kendo. They all did it without exception, and the goal is Ye Chen. Their first choice is to solve Ye Chen. It has nothing to do with grievances. Just because Ye Chen is too threatening. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect that I would be able to participate in the Battle of Emperor 2 one day, but let us all do it, Ye Chen, even if you die, there is no regret. That's right, the rest of the emperors haven't encountered so many strong alliances. Ye Chen, you are very powerful, but you are too arrogant and arrogant. If you drive away Pluto in the first time, we won't be able to besiege you here. You are young and frivolous, everyone has such years, but it is a pity that your young and frivolous ruined you. Numerous powerful men appeared, and a horrible atmosphere burst out, covering almost the entire sea area, making the entire sea area plunged into an extremely solemn atmosphere. As if gravity suddenly increased, I felt great pressure. A sea emperor, plus more than 20 top powerhouses, brought a sense of oppression that ordinary people could not bear. And this is not all. Facing such an army, even Whitebeard himself is probably very afraid. This force, enough to punish an emperor. Just you people. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ye Chen looked around at the crowd, his face calm, without any pressure. He sneered and said, "Who gave you so much confidence that you think you can kill me? Just rely on you stinky fish and shrimps. Or who thinks Charlotte Linlin can be with me? Contend. She is not even Kaido an opponent, do you think she might be my opponent?" Speaking of this, Ye Chen paused for a moment, a cold light appeared in his eyes, and said, "But since you have all come here, you should all come here with the determination to die, then let me send you off." The current gathering of strong men is indeed extremely terrifying. Regardless of the Sea Emperor, he will be discolored. But Ye Chen didn't panic at all. These people are not enough to threaten him. The words came out. Everyone's complexion changed drastically, they were furious, and their eyes burst out with almost substantive killing intent, if the murderous intent could kill people. Ye Chen estimated that he was beheaded countless times in an instant. Ye Chen, don't be too arrogant. Although we are not your opponents one-on-one, it does not mean that we can't kill you together. The Emperor of the Sea is not invincible, and we also have Charlotte Linlin, the Emperor of the Sea. That's right, as long as you can kill you, it's easy to talk together. As for the ownership of Pluto, we can fight when you die. Don't talk nonsense with him, quickly kill him, the belonging of Pluto has nothing to do with him. Kill. I don't know who shouted a word, everyone started to kill, and the killing was revealed. In a flash, everyone did it directly. Several sharp sword auras came out, and the dazzling light almost covered the surrounding sky, sealing Ye Chen's surroundings, leaving him nowhere to go. Almost at the same time, 10 people at the general level, stepping on the void, lingering around armament Haki, towards Ye Chen. Ha ha ha, Ye Chen, since everyone wants you to die, then I will make everyone better. Seeing everyone doing it, Charlotte Linlin laughed wildly, the dark clouds in the sky rolled, turning into countless thunder and coming towards Ye Chen. As long as Ye Chen dies, the question of Pluto's belonging can be decided by her, so she doesn't mind being able to join forces with these people. Boom boom boom. Thunder sounded, sword energy swept across. All kinds of attacks are densely covering the entire sky. 360 degrees, blocking Ye Chen anywhere. There is no room for retreat. He must die. Seeing that Ye Chen was blocked by all the attacks, a slender pirate said excitedly. He has almost seen the scene of Ye Chen's death. This is the scene of the fall of the Sea Emperor. It was also the first emperor's fall in decades. Just the next moment. Everyone's eyes widened and their faces were full of shock. Bang. I only saw a deafening sound, various attacks bombarding Ye Chen's location, the smoke billowed and the light was shining, almost covering the surroundings. It didn't take long before everything disappeared. Ye Chen stood there safe and sound, walking slowly over the void, and said lightly, "I still value you too much. I thought that you could cause some harm to me, but I didn't expect it to be just as capable." The voice fell off. Ye Chen disappeared. Next moment. He appeared behind several pirates, moved his fingers lightly, and said faintly, "Black coffin." The vast Reiatsu spewed out like a galaxy, black matter formed in the void instantly, and a large rectangular black object appeared. Follow closely. The entire black object exploded directly, and several figures were riddled with holes, and their bodies were pouring blood like a fountain of blood, sprinkled in the air desperately. Just a moment. Before everyone could react, several top powerhouses had already fallen. The speed is fast. It made everyone's horror, and a wave penetrated from the soles of the feet to the heavenly spirit cover, and it was too late to calm down. Ye Chen. And just now, Charlotte Linlin stepped on the dark clouds, holding a large knife more than 10 meters long, and slammed toward Ye Chen's side.